Aren't you star? No clue, far from the land. Tottenham stranded in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football nest. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football nest. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fast on the side, hearts turned to stone. Stadium echoes a lonesome drone. Whispers in the air, they speak of change. Up on the horizon feels so strange. Question lost in every wayward pass. And goes the future fading fast. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be in town post-match analysis. Guys, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure you do the same for Danny, the Hotspur Hood, for Sava, the Football Heritage TV, for Hasper TV. I'm actually, normally I'm pretty calm, whatever. I don't care if we win, don't care if we lose. I've checked out. I'm actually pretty pissed off tonight. I'm genuinely pissed off. I went to the game hoping for Levy out chance. What I saw was the most ridiculous game of football, and I'm more Ange out now than ever before. How I feel about German.
I'm glad you joined.
Listen, I've been Lange, Levy out for a while, but after tonight, anyway, we will get into it. Guys, there's 9 of us on the show tonight. I'm conscious not everyone's going to get enough time to talk, which I don't like. So when we go around, try and keep it brief in the beginning when you just do your hellos. Otherwise, we're going to spend 20 minutes just doing hellos and stuff. So everyone in the comments, thanks for being here. We've got 500 in the building already, which is insane. Thank you for choosing to be here. Make sure you put your comments up. We'll try and go for as many as possible. I want to go first, guys. I'm going to go straight in because I've got notes and notes of talking points I want to bring up. And I know you guys have got plenty you want to talk about, but I just want to share this with you, right? When I saw the starting lineup, Ian called me up to see if I was at the game yet to meet up. I wasn't there yet. He said to me, have you seen the starting lineup? I said, yes, I've seen. And I said, it's going to go one or two ways, right? And this is what I posted. I want to share it with you, right? I said, oh my days, Romero and Van der Ven thrown straight back into the starting lineup. Are they even ready? They will both be tested for pace today, and they've both been picking up muscle injuries recently. What does this say for Dragusin? Wow. He's been dropped for 2 players who surely can't be 100% fit. Basuma Sarr Kulu start. Yet again, Maddison is benched. Johnson, Slanky, and Son are our front three. This could be this could be very risky and a little desperate from Ange, but it could also potentially get us to the win. That was my initial thought when I saw that starting lineup. This is risky what he's doing here, especially dropping Dragusin, who's actually 100% fit. And do you know what? The way it panned out, that's on Ange. He chose that starting lineup, not Levy, not Lange, not Paratici, not Enoch, not Joe Lewis. He picked that starting lineup, and that defense collapsed. He chose it, and he was wrong to do so. I'm not a Premier League manager. You watching the show, you're not Premier League managers. You knew they weren't 100% fit. He's rushed back Romero. It's bloody obvious. Van de Ven wasn't 100% there. That's why he got cramp in his legs, because he hasn't run in a football match, a competitive game for God knows how long. I'm so checked out with this manager, man. It's ridiculous. But say hello, say your brief, whatever you want to say, guys. Try and keep it short and sweet. Into it. Mari, you good, bro? How's things in Miami?
I'm not even mad anymore. I'm still more disgusted of the previous game. That one was disgusting. This one, I'm going to be really honest. When we went up 2-0, I was not confident that we were going to win this game. I wasn't. I honestly, in my mind, was saying Chelsea will come back, because we were so open. Now I know we use all these sexual connotations, like, our legs were spread wide open. I mean, it was bound for Chelsea to get clinical and score, not waste opportunities. I knew they were going to come back because of Ange's stubbornness. And here in the States, we had the coverage with Graham Nassau, who's a Chelsea legend, and he said this at best. He says, Ange, and along with Gary Neville, Ange is stubborn. He refuses to adapt. Any other manager, you're up 2-0. It's not saying totally abandon your philosophy, but you see that you're giving teams who are trailing, right? Just like Brighton, hope. You're giving them opportunities. We've given up in 7 games, over 130 shots on goal. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. And so no lead is safe for us, especially against a good team, right? Minus Manchester City, because they were going through shit. They were going through their slump. But when we play a good team, even if we're up 2-0, 3-0, they know that they're going to come back, because we will give them the opportunity. And it is downright frustrating. All he had to show is a little bit of a little practice.
Mari, let me speed up, because I want to get through. There's 9 people, yeah. I don't want to rush you, but because there's so many of us, we'll get into the ins and outs of it. But
I'll kind of say this: I said this maybe 2 months ago. It's going to be a long season. There's going to be some good days, but there's definitely going to be a lot more bad days, depending what your expectations for this team. And for me, I'm not surprised. I predicted 7th, 8th for this season, and could possibly be worse.
All right, Maz, how you doing? I just want to quickly jump on a super chat before I miss it, because there's a lot of comments coming through and I'm going to miss it all. Big up to Ole Suderland, channel member. Thank you for joining us. God bless. William Leone, Ange out, Levy out, Happy Clappers out. I'm fully in agreement with you. I've been saying it to so many people. I want them all out. It's not working, and it's never going to work like this. Maz, short and sweet if you can. I know you're going to want to unleash, because you were eating popcorn before we started. So
yeah, all good and hello. That's it. Intro done.
Sweet. How's how you doing?
Oh, sorry, I didn't expect to go that way. Was a desperate man with his team selection, if I'm being honest, and it cost him. But yeah, Ange out every day of the week. He's a fraud. Get out my club. Yeah, that's my intro.
Fair play. Dietrich, how you doing? Hope you're well.
First of all, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. And like Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. Get this manager out. He's an idiot. Simple.
Ange out. Dan, how you doing? Where are you at, bro? Where are you at with it? I know you've been streaming all day. I've seen you here and there, so just keep it going, really. Another stream. You're on mute, Dan.
My bad. You all right, everyone? Hope everyone's because they're going to be. Anyway, I'll keep it short and sweet. Same Spurs, different day. Same Ange, different day. And I'll save the rest for the show.
Save the rest for the show. We've got plenty to talk about. Sava, you've just messaged me a whole lot of stats. Do you know what? How's about you go through it for your intro? How's about that's your intro? Because there's a lot there. You could just reel it all off and the facts don't lie.
Yeah, I'll run through them quickly. So what I've said to Stel is in the last 14 months, Ange has lost more Premier League games than he has won. We've got 1 win in 7. In December, we've got 1 point from 9. We've got 19 defeats, 19 in the last 12 months. Over the last 12 months, we're 13th in the form table, 1-3. Over the last 12 months, Bournemouth have 5 more points than us, and they've lost 2 or 3 of their better players. Since the Chelsea 4-1 loss, we've won last season. We've lost 21 games and won 16. 54 points from the last 43 games. And if you average that out over the season from the last year, it's 47.7 points in 38 games. That's my intro. This manager is absolutely wank.
Mate,
Well, he's not worth one anyway.
I'm not completely. I can't really follow that up. Ian, you were at the game. You called me before the game. You sounded a bit excited about the starting lineup, and I said to you, it's going to go one or two ways. I think this is very risky from Ange.
Well, Romero's was a new injury, and that's probably down to lack of preparation because he shouldn't be getting a quad injury in 10 minutes. Mickey was only ever going to play 65, 70. He had a bit of cramp. Fully expect him to play Thursday. So Van der Ven for 65, 70, for me, is better than playing Archie Gray at the back. Listen, the club's a shambles. You got an owner at the top after 24 years who wouldn't be there if he was working for any other company. With his total lack of success, he appointed Munn. Munn brought in Ange, who's totally out of his depth, and this is what we've got. So the whole thing's a shambles. It's just a complete shambles. And no, I never felt a 2-0 that we would hold on. If a dog had made it 3, then maybe, just maybe 3-0 up. We haven't actually seen if Spurs can lose a 3-goal lead yet.
Ian, I still would have been confident even with 3.
But
make some cut
with the chaotic way we play, we're never in control, so we're always at risk of losing a game, even if you're 2-0 up. So, not surprised.
Listen, I'm sorry, guys. To score 3 goals in a game and lose, to score 3 games in a home game and lose, no one is telling me this manager knows what he's doing. Nobody. Scott. You've
I'm going to start off, if it's okay, saying, I was quite happy I wasn't doing a watch along. I wasn't on stream. So unlike Sava, I was able to enjoy my humble pie today with some ice cream, an extra dollop of whipped cream on that. It was quite delicious. And I don't know why everybody's so angry here. I've never been more happy to have Ange as our manager, because I knew that at 2-0, he had already told us he was going to make sure we didn't see that out. He assured us we weren't going to see that result out. So I knew at 2-0 not to get too excited, to just enjoy my pie and know that there was lots of goals coming from Chelsea, because we want entertaining football and Ange is going to give it to us. So yeah, I love having Ange today. He made my day much easier. I didn't get excited. I didn't get disappointed. I knew what was coming. So long live Ange. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Here. Look, let's get straight into it. There's so many talking points. My first question is this, right? Our starting lineup tonight against Chelsea, was Forster, Porro, and the surprise, Romero, Van der Ven returning, Udogie. That is our best back 4. No one can have a problem with Forster starting because we've been praising him for the last 3 games.
He's probably not best player of the pod.
Yeah, for sure. Basuma, Sarr, Kulu in the midfield three. Many would argue that's the best three we've got, considering Benton
I
was
disagree.
suspended. Well, Dietrich, isn't what I'm saying. Some would argue, right? That means not
Yeah.
everyone. Some, yeah. Some would argue Basuma, Sarr, and Kulu are our best three. Some would say actually Madison's better in there. Some would change it a bit more and put Archie Gray in the six. But a lot would say that is kind of the best three we've got. As far as I'm aware, as far as I know, Johnson, Solanke, and Son are the best front three we've currently got at the club. As far as I'm aware. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If Werner's better, if Odeberg's better, I don't know.
I would take Werner over Son.
Lancashire. Put Lancashire.
All right, Lancashire instead of Solanke. All right.
And Werner over Son.
Right. But that is as good of a starting lineup. Injuries aren't an excuse, as we are going to see this season. This is as good as we've got. And this is the same team that has won games this season, lost games. So injuries is an excuse when you see that starting lineup. Even the bench, okay? If we need to change the 10, we've got Madison. I think that's a pretty good sub. If we need to change a wide player, we've got Werner. Although not good, he's got pace to get him behind. If one of the centre-backs needs to go off, we've got Dragusin. Well, we spent £30 million on him. Ange was happy with that. If we need to change a fullback, we've got Reggie and Spence. One has got some experience. The other one's just been given a new contract. Then you've got youngsters like Gray, Lancashire and Bergvall who are going to be generational and capable. So we can't complain. So the bench isn't bad. So I don't want to hear about squad depth, first team not good enough. So my question is this. When you look at this, guys, and you look at the bench today, in your heart of heart, is this not good enough when Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham and Forest with their squads are all above us? Please,
Ian, go first. Ian thinks we are where we should be. Ian, go first and tell everyone why those clubs are better than us.
Gloves are off straight away. Gloves are off.
Go on.
Damn right.
For me, you get rid of Ange tomorrow. I think Mason would do a better job. I think play a proper system, and we will be in a higher position. But I also think, particularly having seen the way our players were giving the ball away, and they were unforced errors. We're not talking about under pressure. We're talking about unforced errors. These players are meant to be better than they actually are. I think they're overhyped. I honestly think several of our players today were so poor,
Ian,
and so many of them blow hot and cold.
Sorry, Ian, I need to jump in. Ian,
sorry?
I need to jump in straight away here. Fair enough. If you think they're overhyped, but my question is, are the players at Forest, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Brentford better than those players?
No, they're not.
Those clubs.
Surely, on paper, they're not. Surely.
It won't be.
But the game's not played on paper.
Leno, these are Arsenal rejects.
But sure, come on, man. Come on, don't do
Chris Woods as striker at Forest.
Chris Wood better than Solanke. Yes or no?
We're 11th. Everyone's turned around.
Solanke, though.
I must say that
I'm going to defend Ian a little bit, although I don't necessarily agree that those clubs you mentioned have got better players. But what I will say in defence of Ian is that if you look at what clubs we bought a lot of those players from, they're all bottom 10 sides. So is it any wonder that we're performing to that level?
Yeah.
Where have those teams above us bought their players from? The list I've made, where have they got their players from?
That's a fair point, but they've got a better quality players though, regardless.
No, what they've got is a better set of players working as a team in a better team way that the manager tells them to play.
So they've got better managers, Dan, is what we're trying to say. They've got better managers.
They haven't got better
I know
players.
that. I know
Take
that.
one or two players out of each team.
Okay, but if you look at Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle, they've got more quality players, right?
And better managers.
And better managers than we have.
I never mentioned those clubs. I never mentioned those clubs.
No, and I understand. So my point was, hold on. Let me. So my point is that a lot of our signings, right, have been bought from clubs that are below us, more right, and I think that in combination with that and the poor manager is the reason why where we are now. We don't have enough good players in our team to make up the difference for all the bad players we brought in.
Okay,
I said this.
Murray,
quality
one
in
second,
that
Murray.
team.
I'm going to come to you. I just want to ask Ian one question. I'll come to you. I promise. Ian, out of Fulham's squad, which players would you take?
Cool. Hang on, let me get the program.
Why have you got a program for Fulham?
Hang on. No, this I keep my programs
Spurs
in the
Fulham.
office.
Okay.
Who do I think would do well from Fulham?
No, who? Yeah,
us.
okay. Do that.
Who would you take, basically?
Maybe Sanderberg.
Who?
Berg,
the central midfielder.
1,
Pereira,
2,
Pereira, possibly maybe Smith Rowe,
3,
Definitely Smith Rowe.
Anthony Robinson.
4.
They're all decent players,
Right.
and if you look at
Ian,
how
4
are
players.
this season,
So therefore, if you don't take 4,
Mad.
our remaining 16, 17 are better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let me.
Murray, then Sava. Sava, come to
Yeah.
you. Go on, Murray. Go on, Murray. I'll come to Sava next. I can see Sava's itching.
I said this in the beginning of the season when the transfer window closed, and when I had my own channel, my very last episode was the mentality of Spurs. The difference between those teams is just that those players know their roles and they do their jobs, and their players are smart. When I mean smart, I mean our team the last couple of years are as dumb as rocks. Our team does not have the intelligence on that field. We have some of the most dumbest players on that field. Hence the 2 penalties that happened today. I watched Fulham and Arsenal today, right? We mentioned Fulham, and those players, they knew their role, and they knew every single moment of what to do and when to do it to be able to get a result against Arsenal. Our team, and I've been complaining about this, we don't have smart players on this team. We don't. Hence, example, SAR's penalty. No defender in that situation. You do not, and Graham so said this, you do not do that. You don't run into a play like that. You know the risk of you getting a penalty. But this is not
is he in that position though?
Huh?
What I would say though, yeah, is that why are we playing certain players a certain way then? And why are we playing certain players a certain position? I'd bring Basuma up. I know he was fucking awful today, but at the same time, I don't view him as a number 6, yeah? So why are we playing him so far deep in that position rather than actually keeping a number 6, pushing him up?
It goes back to Ange. It also goes back to recruitment. Like, we are not a smart team. We are not a smart team. We are a dumb team. Especially when the pressure comes in. When it comes to football IQ on the field, it is terrible. It's
I'll go with you on
that. And if you look at the comments, all the way from Poch to Jose to even Conte, they mentioned that.
But Murray, before I come to Sava, I just want to, we question their IQ. But when Porro is on the edge of their box, Udogi's on the edge of their box, and Chelsea are playing long balls, which I was watching long and wide into this big space, what do we expect Porro and IQ to do IQ-wise other than make a 60-metre sprint back, which they're not going to do? Things like that.
Mentioning that. Come on, you're taking what he said and you're applying a different.
What are we talking about? The tackles for the penalties.
Well, see that
the tackles for the penalties.
And Matt's is saying this. That's from the manager, but that's the intelligence. That's coming from the.
What were you talking about, Murray? IQ regarding what? Give me an example.
Do you mean the players IQ?
I'm talking about that. Yes, those teams, Bournemouth and Fulham, right? The manager puts them in positions of where they are going to achieve their goal for that game at best.
Yeah.
But also too, those players, for some reason, they know what to do. Like Robinson today, I'm watching him, and he last 10 minutes they're trying to kill off the game. Right? He knows when to what do you call it? We call it horse playing. Shithousery. He knows when to do it, not to do it. Like they know what to do to be able to get over the line. players.
because Ange doesn't tell these players to do these things. I don't think personally.
Yeah, I get that, but also too, even before that, these players they don't have that ability. It's just I love
our players know to score an equaliser, but in the 96th minute we're playing tiki taka at the back.
Yeah,
and on the other side of it,
that's what Mari's alluding to. That's a lack of awareness and intelligence.
Okay, is that? I'm going to come to Sav next. I'll come back to you. I'm just wondering, is that player IQ, or are they doing as they're told by their manager? I mean,
they do as to as a manager, but in that situation too, to solidify what their manager is telling them to do, they also have the intelligence to survey the field and know, okay, I'm going to do this. Moment. It's something that ever since I've been watching football, some of the legends, the great teams, that they are a smart team. I'll throw out Inter, the 2010 team, right? With Jose, right? That team.
Look at their manager, Prime Jose.
Also, that was a smart team, right? That was a team that knew
smart manager.
Yeah, smart.
They weren't special player for player. They had some very good players, but they weren't special player for player. They had an excellent team there.
Let me go to Sam.
Jose's still really smart.
They were smart.
It's weak. We're not a smart team.
All right, Sava, you wanted to speak on this. I'll come to you after Haz.
Okay,
First and foremost, we could talk about in-game and smart decisions, and I do agree. I agree, but at the end of the day, when this happens, game in, week in, month in, year out, right? It is the manager. If it is the same every game, it is the manager's tactics.
I agree.
And this is why Ian and I just had this debate on my channel that those teams you mentioned, Stel, that is exactly what I said. None of those teams have got a better squad than Tottenham Hotspur. What they've got is a manager that galvanizes them, right? And some of you were in a WhatsApp group with me, right? I've just put in a motivational speech that the Brentford players got from their manager yesterday. Watch that and then tell me that that's not a good manager, right? This is a manager that people would, people I wouldn't have Silva. Look how difficult they make it for teams to beat them. We're talking about where we buy players from. Where are Brentford buying players from? Where are Fulham buying players from? Where did Nottingham Forest buy players from? And I just want to go against Maz's point, right? Because I love Maz, but this whole notion of look where we bought all our players from. Well, let's have a look at Liverpool. They've been pretty successful the last 5 years, the last 7 years. Liverpool, where did they buy their right back from? Oh, he came through the youth team. Where did they buy Robertson from? Oh, he came from Hull. Where did they buy Van Dijk? Oh, he came from Celtic. None of these teams are anywhere near Liverpool's level. Where did they buy Canate from? RB Leipzig. Still nowhere near Liverpool's level. Where did they buy McAllister from? Brighton. Where did they buy Diogo Jota from? Wolves. Right? Again, Luis Diaz from Porto, but still not on Liverpool's level. All of the players that these clubs buy aren't from the same level. Most of the time, they are from the level below, but they buy the best players. We buy the best players from the level below as well and can't get the best out of them. Yeah, look at Arsenal. Where did they get their players from? Ben White was from Brighton. Declan Rice was from West Ham. Yeah, where did they get Saliba and Gabriel from? Teams in France who people would go, oh, the French league shit. Where did they get the goalkeeper from? Brentford, right? It's the same with every club. This isn't an excuse for me. We've got more than enough on that pitch. When they all start, Bentancur and Kulusevski were from Juventus, right? Sonny has been one of the best players in the league for the last decade, right? We can't just keep doing this thing where there's always an excuse for Spurs. Other clubs are going through the same thing, but they make do with what they've got. Square pegs, square holes. Square pegs, square holes. And if you play this, can I tell you, right? A big Chelsea YouTuber has just WhatsApped me, right? Do you want to know what they said about our club? He's a really nice guy, by the way. And he said, we were all sitting behind the stands and we were all in awe at just how stupid stroke brave your manager is and at how open you lot are. we started to find it funny at how easy we could walk through you. We weren't even at our best. Yeah. He said, you lot are going nowhere fast. This is worse than what we saw from you lot last year. You have made zero progress. Hope you don't think I'm
100%.
having a dig. I messaged back and said,
100%.
now do you see why I want this shit manager out? Sorry,
100%.
guys. There is
I
there
would
is
I would
no
I would
way
say,
at all
Sav,
those teams should be above us. No way.
I would say though that even a lot of the you made a good point about a lot of teams buying below them. Sure, because a lot of those clubs that certainly Liverpool have been above most of the teams that they buy from. Let's face it, they're always in the top 3 or second, or and every now and again they're first. However, when you have a recruitment system like Spurs's, where we go and buy players potentially with good stats but have weak mental abilities, right? Or we don't look at their backgrounds correctly, or they're players that no other big clubs are necessarily going for, right?
And Dombele.
That's where I would say we're sort of bought the worst from the bottom 10 clubs, right? And just to clarify, I was just defending Ian's position, whereby I do think a lot of our players are possibly overrated. Therefore, we are
we've bought nearly
more
everyone's best.
mid-table.
Like, look, James Maddison. James Maddison was one of Leicester's best players for years. Dominic Solanke was their best player. Was Bournemouth's best player last year. Yves Bissouma was
but when you scratch the surface though, but when you scratch the surface with Dominic Solanke, is that he's had one good season over 9, right?
I don't disagree. But play. How about Maz? If we play to their strengths, listen. For me,
I'm not arguing that. So the manager situation is you know what I think about the manager. I'm just defending Ian's point a little bit. I'm not saying I'm 100% with his point. I'm just trying to give, I'm trying to give balance to the conversation.
I understand that, but as I said on my last show, right, guys, this is to everyone, right? If and sorry for the ones who were just on my show, if I turn around at the beginning of this season and said, here's your 5 teams that you can put in order: Tottenham, Fulham, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, and Brentford. If I had said to you guys and everyone in the Spurs fan base, after 15 games, which one of those 5 teams would be at the bottom of that list, not one Spurs fan would have picked Tottenham to be bottom. And if I had said who after 15 games would be top of the list out of those 5, every single Spurs supporter would have said Spurs, right or wrong? Right. Why? Because we know we've got much better players than them. So I'm sorry, I'm not buying into this narrative now where people are making up that, we're a mid-table team. Hang on. Really? Nottingham Forest and Brentford. Nottingham Forest and Brentford were in relegation battles last year. Right? Fulham just lost their best player for the 2nd year in a row. Fulham just lost Paulinho in the summer and are much better. Right? Brighton lose players every single year. They're above us.
Bournemouth sold their best player to us and they're doing better.
Bournemouth sold their best player and they're doing better than us. So I'm sorry. This notion now that we now suddenly overrate all of our players, I'm sorry. I don't care how much I love any of you as pundits and YouTube friends, right? But this is absolute bollocks. I will not be told that we are the 11th best squad in the Premier League and that these squads above us have better footballers. This is on the manager.
We're not, but we're not far off
some
from
are.
being.
Some are, Mads. Some are.
Yeah,
so,
but let's add a little bit of meat to that. When we did our predictions, and I know you predicted 7th, right? And I predicted 7th, I think as well, or 8th. I predicted. That's only a couple of places of mid-table. It's not like a million miles away. It's closer to mid-table than what it is.
None of those teams I mentioned were above us, Maz. None of those.
No, sure. In that context, you're right. Yeah.
Is it fair to say, right? The performances this season away at Old Trafford, against Man City away, we nullified Arsenal for most of the game. Okay, they beat us 1-0. That could have been a draw. The performance against Aston Villa at home, West Ham, Everton. We've seen enough to know that when it clicks and we've got the other team where we want, we're very, very good. And we praise the manager for that. But when it doesn't quite go right, or when the pressure or the game turns, and now you're looking to the manager, earn your money, navigate this, he's a disaster. He's an absolute disaster. So is it not a case of it is on the manager? We're 11th because of the manager.
The way I'll go 50-50 with this, yeah, to an extent, whatever way you want to put it, yeah, this is on the manager's tactics. The manager is the one who tells them where to play, how he wants them to play and everything. But going on the other side about player mentality, that's different to player skill as far as I'm concerned and how good a player is. They're two different things. But to get a very good player, you need mentality and you need to be good. I don't think some of our players have got it mentally. I don't think they've got it upstairs to be an out-and-out footballer. I don't give a shit what anybody tells me. What Basuma done on that pitch today was criminal. I don't care if he's just lost the ball and he's trying to get it back, yeah? Not a player with half a football brain would take another player out in the pitch, nearly get a red card for it. I'm surprised he didn't even get booked. If that would have been another inch, okay, he's got a shot on goal. But you got more chance of saving that shot on goal from the angle than you have an out-and-out penalty. That dickhead runs straight into him and nearly took him clean out.
That's not why we're
gave
11.
away a penalty.
Not why we're 11.
Sir, what the hell was he doing in that situation when he calls the penalty as well?
Dan,
This is what I'm saying by mentality of some of the players. I don't think some of them are good enough mental-wise to be good players.
They're doing that because they're chasing players in this system.
Yeah, you can chase players as long as you want. But if you've got your own football brain as well, you know when to and when not do things. The manager tells you, right, I want you playing it out from the back, left, right, and centre, hands down, no ifs, no buts. Well, if a player's got his own brain as well, and he's got a moment where he's got 3 or 4 players charging at him, if he's got his own brain, he's just going to boot the ball up the pitch and say, sorry, Gaff, what do you want me to do? And is
Andy Robertson a good left back? Is Andy Robertson a good left back?
Wouldn't say he's bad.
Right, okay, so the answer is yes, he's very good. He's won everything in a Liverpool team, right? Andy Robertson, has he got good mentality?
I'd say so. Better than ours.
Right. Andy Robertson, in the last 3 games, gave away 2 stinkers of penalties by stupid tackles in the penalty area. Right? Players do silly things. All players
and
do
how
silly
often
things.
do they do it? Basuma does it every other game.
Well, Basuma doesn't do that every game, does he? Let's be honest.
He gives away enough shit on the pitch. He gives away enough things on the pitch.
Guys, we're arguing 2 different things. One is about mentality. One is about silly mistakes.
He's a smart player. His reputation. Yeah, I agree with you. Once in a while, Van Dijk makes a mistake. Once in a blue moon.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, but Van Dijk, everybody knows this guy he's intelligent. He's the defensive captain on the field. He is, as they say, the quarterback. He's the extension of what the coach wants on that field. We have none of that on that.
That's not his position, is it? That's not his. This is the thing again on the manager, guys. You're asking Basuma to do a role that isn't his. It's the same thing when people go, oh, Maddison doesn't track back enough and tackle. You're asking players to do things that you didn't buy them to do. If you put in a defensive midfielder, they know the role of a defensive midfielder. Listen, do I think Basuma's great, Mari? No. Do I think Basuma's an average midfielder that sometimes does brilliantly, sometimes is shit. But you know what? Basuma is asked every single game, Basuma is tearing about the pitch, covering flying right backs and left backs that are never actually in their position. He is flying all over the pitch, having to fly into tackles. And then we're all going, oh, he wasn't very good today. Well, why don't we play him as a box-to-box midfielder, driving forward with a ball? And then we might actually see what he is. But instead, what we're going to do is we're going to penalise him for a penalty, which was a stupid decision. But at the end of the day, he was flying across the penalty area because we were so bloody wide open because of these god-awful tactics that he made a last-ditch attempt to try and win the ball. Got it terribly wrong.
Yeah,
and
what I'm saying is
the wrong reasons here.
No. What I'm trying to basically say, stemming from what what Maz and Ian said, is both can be true. That the system is shit, and also the player is not that bright.
I agree.
Yeah.
But if you play them in the right position, it doesn't happen, right?
Sava, I've been telling everyone this for 13, 14 months. The point I am getting at is there is certain points in a game. I know we go, it's the manager's tactics. Everybody knows that. Anyone who don't see that needs to get another brain cell, let alone one of them. The point I am making is there is a few players on that pitch that don't seem to have a football brain when it comes to the moment you need it. Every team, they do what the manager tells them. They do the tactics, everything else. Like the manager says, I'm not taking no shit off the manager. Everyone should know me by now. I've wanted this prick out for about 12, 13 months and called him out after 5 games, for God's sake. But some of the players on there, on certain points where they got to use their own brain, because this ain't bloody FIFA, they haven't got the brain cells to do it.
And those players in the teams above us all got that. Is that what we're saying? We're saying that
I'm saying some of them. I didn't say all our team. I didn't say all of it.
I know, but this is my point. When you looked at Forest's midfield yesterday, the Forest midfield is Yates and Anderson, right? I don't care what any of you say. Yates and Anderson are not as good as Basuma and Bentancur, for example. Yeah, Yates, mate, does some really dumb stuff. You watch Yates, he goes into people, he fouls. But you know what? Yates is always in central midfield doing his job. Basuma's running around like our midfielders run around like they are Mo Farah. They're constantly
I totally get it. It's the way they're told to play, but you're missing the point on what I'm saying.
I've not missed the point. I understand what you're saying, but I'm asking you.
The tactics is blatantly down to the tactics. I've been saying it for God knows how long. But I'm just saying that I do believe there is certain players on that pitch, not the whole team, that on a spur of the moment can't make a decision for themselves when it matters.
Can the clubs above us? That's my point. What's the excuse for the teams above us that have got worse players?
I'll tell you what the difference is.
Worse
because
players
they're better players lift up the team. And
isn't just down to skill. Also being a player.
But our players weren't bad against Man City, against Villa, against these teams. Like we can't. One week we say, "Oh, really good performance," and I'm going to praise you when you do well. When you do bad, I'm going to go in and say, "Well, actually, you're not as good." It's one or the other.
I just think.
No, it's not binary. No, it's not binary. What kind of logic is that?
If you're a good player, no, Maz. If you're a good player, you're consistent.
I was about to say the word.
Right?
But you're disciplined and you're consistent with your discipline. And what I'm saying is the system is shit. That's on end. And our players, historically, in this club, mentality-wise, is shit. It's not. It's
sorry. Let me just say how. No, hold on. Right. We've just been arguing for the last half an hour, right, about the players. You mentioned a couple of teams and that how our players are better than theirs, right, and that we should be a lot higher than mid-table. Yeah. Then you've said a statement, right, where you said if they're good players, they'll be consistent, and we're not consistent, so they're not good players then.
But
they're going to be much better if they're playing.
Make it very simple.
Ian, can I answer? Then you can go. Play them in the consistent position, and then tell me. Because listen, I personally think just on Basuma, for 28 years old, I don't think he's matured. As a 28-year-old, I don't think he's matured as a football player. I think there's a lot of questions about him. However, if he doesn't put in that tackle, which he fucked up, Chelsea are in for a simple square pass. So
agreed.
With Tottenham, we're constantly putting out fires on the pitch.
Yeah,
I put that all on the tactics. I think there's players that shouldn't be at this club. I think there's players that have been playing the wrong position, and I think there's players that make mistakes more than others. I agree with all of that. Yeah. However, when I saw us go 4 at the back, in a deeper line against Man City, not passing it across the back. No inverted fullbacks, they were deeper, still press, but not the whole team high line press. And we played a few more longer balls forward in a transition. I saw a Tottenham that actually looked very effective and very efficient. Yeah. What I saw today was a team that came out the blocks quick. We stunned Chelsea. They weren't expecting that. We really got into them. But as soon as we gave them space to start play, they started getting into the game. And then as Chelsea got back into the game and they got their goals, we began to completely capitulate because of the amount of space we gave them on the transition.
Right.
and I put it on tactics, and then the players get caught up in that melee, and we're saying, "Come on,
right?" And everything you said,
put these fires out,
100%
put
of
these
it,
fires out, but we can't because the manager keeps lighting it.
and 100% I agree with you, right? And 100 and more than 90% I agree with Sava and everyone else, right? However, we've got to stop, right, pretending that everything is binary, right? And we have to accept that our assessments of these players can be absolutely multifaceted, right, and take a lot of different things into account, right? So we can't just jump on each other and say, oh yeah, but he's not good and that player is good, right? And they're a top team and they're a bad team and you not take, as what a lot of people say, context into account, right? What Ian was saying, right, is a lot of these players, right, at the moment are very average, right? They're performing very average. They're performing like a mid-table club, right? I don't think Ian is saying that they can't perform much better than they are, or they can't finish 6th, 7th, or 5th, right? He's just saying that we've just overestimated how good these players are. And a large portion of that is the tactics. And we know that Ian doesn't rate Ange. That's my assessment of it.
Let me come to Ian. Ian, you go, and I want to counter that. But yeah,
I want to say something.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I'll come to you next, Has. Ian, then Has. Go on.
Right. What I'm saying is, I can't stand this system, and I want Ange out tomorrow. So let me start by saying that, so people understand where I'm coming from. Last season, most of the goals we gave away were down to the system. We were caught on the counter attack because we were caught out too far. The players were too far up, and also the zonal marking at set pieces was just horrendous. I think we gave away 18 or 20 goals out of the 60 odd goals from set pieces. This year we've given away 3 from set pieces. We're not getting opened up in terms of goals. In terms of goals conceded, because the goals conceded is down per game against last year. Why we are giving away goals is down to players' mistakes.
No. That's
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hang on 1 second, and I'll give you some examples. Give you some examples. Let's start with Leicester. Ball comes across the goal. Romero runs past Vardy, not marking him, gives Vardy a free header.
Why did the ball come across the goal? Because they had so much time.
Let Ian finish.
Talking about the guys that scoring the goals. The ball came across because Porro gave the guy too much space. But Porro was there. Porro wasn't up the pitch. Porro was there and failed to stop the cross. The ball came in, was it Visser? One of them put the ball in, and Mbuemo. Mickey's standing 2 yards off him, ball watching, and Mbuemo puts Brentford 1-0 up. There's just 2 examples. The players are making mistakes. They're making individual errors far more than they were doing last year. And we are getting punished all the time. These players are not as good as people think they are. Now, I'm not saying we're not going to finish above Bournemouth or Forest or this one or that one, but I'm told on these podcasts all the time, facts are facts. Look at the facts. Keep looking at the facts. He hasn't scored that many goals. We've conceded that many goals. We conceded 60 plus last year, right? We're losing. We've lost 19 games in a year. We're talking about facts now. These are facts. The players are making individual errors. They are facts.
Yeah, but it is down to the tactics.
It isn't.
It is down to the
every
tactics.
single goal. Let's talk through every single goal we've conceded this year. Most of them are individual errors.
I'm going to counter him anyway. So
Has, let me come to you. I just want to say, isn't every goal conceded down to some kind of individual error from somebody?
Yeah.
Has.
All right.
Majority of
So
time.
look, everyone's been saying our players at this level, that level. Let's just assume they are like okay players, right? Just as an assumption, first of all. Like, we should not be where we are on the table, okay? And this is all down to Ange. Number one, if you know the player has certain limitations, right? Like we talked about Bissouma, for example, or a Johnson or a Solanke, what do? You play them to their strengths. You don't put them in situations where they're going to be fucking up and giving away these errors, right? You don't put in those situations. That's all down to the fucking tactics. I'm sorry. These diabolical tactics, when you got Bissouma going like a madman, trying to get back to try and stop the attack. Yeah, it's diabolical. These tactics are fucking diabolical. Yeah, and the thing is, it's the manager putting these players who have limitations.
Sorry. When you say these tactics are diabolical, what specifically are you referring to?
Everything. The inverted fullback.
No, because some people watching might not know exactly what you refer to.
The lack of a number 6. Sorry, and it's like, for example, someone Solanke. I don't think Solanke is the best striker in the world, not by a million miles. I don't think he's like an average striker, right? 10 to 15 goals is probably what his limit is, yeah? But we don't, at the same time, put crosses in for him. The one cross we put in today, he scores. The rest of the game, Johnson does fuck all, yeah? And then Son shouldn't be playing on the left, in my opinion. Like, he's not got the same pace he has before. So what do you do as a manager? You try and use his limitation, right? And play him in a situation where he'll actually play to his strengths. Or, in the case of defensive players, make less mistakes. And just stands there and does nothing. In terms of in-game management, it's 2-0 up. Most of these teams above us in the table, right? They know how to drop off. Okay, let's try and see out the half 2-0. We don't do that. We keep playing the same way and the same results happen. I'm not saying these players, by the way, are like the best players in the world, right? But they're not the worst either. We should not be where we are on the table.
No, we should be much higher. We should be much higher. I've said it for ages. If we had a better manager who had better tactics, played the players in sync how they should be, I'm almost sick of bloody saying it, but you will make that team do better. It should be doing better than what it is. We have got a better overall team than the one. No, of course not. But we should be doing better because that team is better than that. Yes, I do believe there is a couple of players in that team who just haven't got the strongest football mentality out there. Like sometimes you just need to have a brain to make your own decision. You can't just do it on one thing all the time. But the majority of the team are more than good enough and have proved at times that they can make their decision when needed, whilst also trying to play the manager's tactics. But everybody sees it. Most people see it. If we changed it to a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-1-2, play the wing backs properly, everything else and all that, it wouldn't be half the problem it is. But there is moments in those games that I do see some players higher up the pitch make stupid options. Like instead of having a clean shot on goal, they tap it behind them. Or instead of doing the pass next to them, they boot it over the top. The problems at the back where the mistakes are made and giving away goals is purely down, majority of the time, I'll say 90%, down to the pressure that they're put into through this formation that they have to cover so much bloody ground. And they've got no support either side, like the back two. One's always covering a wing back while Bissouma's also trying to do it as well. And one's usually left back on his bloody own. You can't blame a player really for making a mistake in that situation because he's got so much bloody pressure on him. But there is a couple of players in that team, I think, that haven't got the sharpest football mentality out there. And that is where, for me, football works on two sides. Sometimes you don't have to be a great player, but if you've got the right foot, Teddy Sheringham weren't a great player. He wasn't skillful. He wasn't that special.
Man, come on.
The main thing
you were doing
Let me give my example.
Everything you said.
Let me give my example.
You just killed your own argument.
Let me give my example.
I'll clip that.
One thing that man, clip it out. One thing the man had was the best football brain. One of the best football brains I've seen in football. He wasn't the most skillful one on the pitch.
He was a superb footballer. What are you?
I'm not saying he wasn't.
You just did.
I'm not saying he was the most skillful one out there.
Yeah,
but he weren't out and out skill. He was one who made sure he got in the right positions and done his job.
Mate, you got to watch videos of him again.
When you say great player, and when you say great player, I think what you're referring to is Zidane, Ronaldinho, them players, right?
Yes, he weren't
below that level.
He was the sharpest one out there. He knew where to be because he had to know where he was. Because he didn't have to
Man United and won the lot. They signed him for a reason. Yeah. Fergie didn't sign a mug.
He knew where he was like playing chess. He used to know where everything would go before it happened because he was so sharp upstairs.
Anyway,
you've got to have both to be the best at it.
Yeah, I feel like you've used. I like your point. I feel you've used the wrong example of a player to execute it. You've used a top Premier League legend to use the point of players not being very sharp.
I think he's a player that was that much more reliant on his head than he's out
The
and out.
pace, yeah, but he was
skill.
super skillful. He was a superb footballer.
Okay, maybe I've said it the wrong way, but I'm saying he is a player that was that good mainly because of his brain.
You should have
His
said
brain
Raziak.
made up for everything he didn't have.
Can I
Okay,
just say,
maybe a better one. Maybe I've described the wrong
Ian
one.
just said he likes facts, right? So I'm going to bring out a few facts to prove his facts wrong, right? This time last season, does anyone know how many goals we'd conceded?
No.
A lot.
Exactly the same amount as we have this year. This time last year, does anyone know how many games we'd lost?
No.
4.
This year we've lost 7.
Yeah.
Anyone know that this time last year how many points we had compared to now?
27.
27 to 20. So everything you said there, it's not all down to individual errors. This is how this guy plays football. This is what he does. We are terrible. We are the most wide open team. Every one of my mates who doesn't support Spurs messages me like, Jesus, like, don't you have tactics? Like, you are wide open. And then we wonder why players, look, we can use Basuma as an example. We can use Sarr. We can use Madison, Adogi, Porro, Van der Ven Romero. It is the tactics. These players are better than Fulham's. They're better than Brentford's and Forest, but those teams are played to their strengths. We do not play to a single player's strengths at this club. Not one. Not one player in this team.
No, we don't.
Played to their strength.
The
Right?
tactics. Sorry, Sav, I thought you were done. Go.
No, I'm done. Scott,
I was just going to say the tactics put these players under so much pressure, and then we wonder why they make mistakes that they don't make previously in their career. They put us under so much pressure, and then but it doesn't lead exactly to the goal. But it's the pressure that are wide open spaces, like that goal Ian was talking about at Leicester, where they scored. It's because they had so much time, because our fullbacks are so inverted that they don't come and cover that space. So you have enough time to find anyone who's open in the middle of the box. How many times do we see other teams cross the ball in to a wide open person in our box because they have all the time in the world to make that cross? There's nothing but space behind us. It happens all the time this year.
Every game.
That's not an individual error. That's the tactics.
All right, let me take this tactics a step further. By the way, quick thank you to Ian J for super chat. He says, even at 3-2 up, Chelsea's manager was managing the game. Ange did nothing. What he did was to wreck 2 centre-backs to try and save his skin. Big up to John Lee. Ange's system is shit and tactically is terrible. We're getting worse every week. I want to move on to something Jamie Carragher said post-match. I don't know if you heard it. Carragher on Sky Sports. I'm going to quote what he said. Top 6 teams find a way to win. Spurs find a way to lose. Now, is he referring to the tactics? I think he is. Because to find a way to lose means tactically you just don't get it. Whereas the top 6... All right. Do you know what? Let's because I don't want to go into this mentality versus tactics. Do we agree that the mentality isn't where it should be and the tactics are wrong as well? Can we agree that 2 different things are both?
Agreed. But let me just I'll take one 60 seconds to prove why I think he means both.
Let me start the clock, Maz. Let me start the clock.
Good, right? Because when we've had he's not only referring to Ange Postecoglou now, he's referring to Spurs in the last 20 years. Right, and he's done a panel thing with Sky Sports tonight, right? He always says that Spurs haven't got the mentality to win like the bigger clubs do, right? So that and we've obviously had good managers before that, Harry Redknapp,
Time's up, Mas.
Jose Conte. Done.
Sorry, I had to.
Michael, say it again because
I said time's up, Mas, because it was 30 seconds.
Oh, time's up.
No, I said 30. I said 60. You cut me short.
Oh, 6.
Anyway,
shit, my bad, man. Okay.
So,
You've already made it a minute 10 now.
So I think Carragher is referring to us as a club over like the 20 years Daniel Levy era, rather than just tactically now with Ange. If you get what
and
I
the
mean.
mentality starts at the top.
He said a lot about.
Anyway, let's talk about
as well.
We've had this discussion, so let's talk about the tactics because we've had this
Ian. But I want to see this is the fact that this argument still exists is why I think Spurs are in a just complete shit show of a mess. I totally agree. Everything starts at the top. I blame Levy. I blame Enoch. I go to the protest. I went today hoping for a demonstration. What I saw, I'll show you later. I nearly threw up what I actually saw. But I sat there, guys, 2-0 up. I was in shock what we were doing. I'm like, freaking hell, we've really got this lot by the balls here. But I wasn't stunned that maybe we're going to batter them 4-0 because I've seen this before. And I'm thinking, Jesus, we're going to batter them. Then I saw Sancho get on the ball. Nobody puts a tackle. Nobody puts a block. And he gets a shot away exactly how to beat Foster. Low and into the corners. He can't get there, Foster. Not from a standing position in the middle of the goal. And I'm thinking, shit, we've given them life. And then I saw them do these counter-attacks where they were so slow to play the ball. If Chelsea played their balls earlier, they had us. And all this space opened up. And I thought, right, why is there space? And I looked at Adogi. I looked at Porro. They were so freaking high up. I'm like, this is...
They were right.
I'm thinking, we're going to blow it. We're going at half-time. And I'm thinking, right, Maresca's going to do something, right? He's going to send them out. Like how we started, I know he's going to send them out like that. He made a change, swap Lavernier, and I'm thinking, right, Ange, you're probably tactically not going to make a sub just yet because maybe you haven't quite got the tools you want, but let's see. But please, shore up that back. Don't leave that space because that's where they're getting us. We came out second half like we were still in the dressing room. Chelsea came out, and after 5 minutes, I knew they're going to do us today.
Yeah.
You could feel it as soon as the second half
You
started.
could see it, man. And
It was like Brighton again. That's what it felt like.
It felt like that. But Murray, do you know what killed me? Do you know what killed me? It was if he just shored up that space in those wide. If he just fixed that, I don't know what Chelsea had. I don't know how they were going to get through us. And playing out from the back with Foster, you know he can't do it, Ange. Why are we looking for it, man? Why are we trying to force something?
But this is why I go back to limitations of players.
That midfield was playing with us. Lavia, they were doing flicks.
Caicedo nutmegged us as well.
Enzo, they
guys,
really, like, it was like,
come to you, man.
Yeah.
Murray, they were attacking us down the flanks. Yeah. And we didn't nullify exactly
and down the middle.
Enzo did his homework.
Whatever he pleased.
My reading of that first half was not like what a lot of people have said. My reading was we got very fortunate that they made two big mistakes. All right, and we
pressed them, Maz. We pressed that ball so well.
Yeah. What we did well was we pressed well in the beginning. We had full of energy. As we know, we spent all our energy in 15, 20 minutes, right? Then everyone's knackered going forward from that point. But
yeah,
I was
so then go pragmatic for 20 minutes, get your energy back, nullify it. Liverpool do it.
Doesn't do that.
I agree.
Pragmatic
I agree. Still, I agree. Right?
I
don't think we actually played.
It's nuts.
I don't think we played well at all, right? Because
we have people in our fan base laughing at Chelsea at their place, laughing at Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo, calling them all bust. Today, those three guys were doing whatever they please on the field.
For that whole first half, they dominated possession. They were splitting us open every near enough every attack they had. It felt like, right? We got really fortunate that they didn't absolutely batter us in the first half, and the second half was just, again, I think it was a disaster.
Their finishing was poor, and they should have had goals in that first half. But
agree.
the goals we got were brilliant because we took advantage of a moment, which sometimes we don't do. But the players took advantage of the moment, whether it was a mess up from their side or whatever, who cares? And we got 2 goals out of it. Whether it was because of Chelsea's fault, whatever, but we done well to take the moment as such.
No, we forced,
like
we forced those goals, man. I'm going to give
Yeah.
praise to Ange and the boys.
Like
for
you
the
have,
first
like
goal.
you have
We
to.
had
And when a
them.
mistake
We had- in my
happens,
opinion, I
you
thought
got
we
to
had
use it to
Chelsea.
your advantage.
As a fan, I
And
thought we had
then
them.
after that, they just
Slip twice.
they just took control of us basically.
Once he
after
changed
that.
his boots, he was all right.
Michael, guys, let me let Michael speak because he's been waiting, and we
Thanks
will
very
keep
much.
jumping in because this is what happens.
No worries,
But
no
Michael,
worries.
yeah, go on, have your say. Sava, I'll come to you after Sava. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on, Michael.
No, you know, the reason why I'm late for the show was because like
Therapy?
I was talking. Yeah, I had therapy, but with my girlfriend this time, right? Not in that way. Before all of this.
Nice.
No.
Okay.
Not that way, right? No, but seriously, because she watched the match with me today, right? And I was like cussing the living fuck out of Ange, right, throughout the whole match, and she was like. She genuinely asked me like what's the deal, right? You were excited a year ago, like you know, first 10 games. She even remembered that we won them, right? And I honestly like sat down with her. I know it sounds nerdy as fuck, right? But I sat down with her and started like, because she asked, not because I forced it like upon her, right? But because she asked, I started like explaining like tactically what's the issue with Ange's system, right? And I kid you not, it's so instinctively easy to spot the mistakes in that system that when I explained to her how our wing backs play, right, and what is required of them to do, she was like, "That's fucked up. You cannot play like that, right?" And then I told her, listen, there is further issues, right? Not only are we exploiting the fuck out of those wing backs physically, right, but we also don't have substitutes to even let them rest, right? And then I started like saying, you know, look at the center backs, what they are doing, right? They're you know, their hamstring are popping, right, on and off, right? It's like so easy to spot the issues with this team. And then I watched this game today, right, and I see like that they have such dangerous wings, Chelsea, right? Neto, Caicedo, sorry, not Caicedo, Neto, Palmer, who else was there? Sancho, Madueke. You look at those guys, 1v1 specialist, fast on the break, right? And you look at that and you are like, you have to defend against that. You cannot leave them alone, right? You cannot leave your center backs 2v3. And it was fucking happening today all over again, right? And I'm watching this game, and as you guys said, credit for the pressing in the first 15 minutes when we got the goal, right? Like you said, Stelios, I don't think it was only Kukureya sleeping, because there had to be someone there to pounce on the mistake, right? I'm finishing, Sava, sorry, yeah? There had to be someone to pounce on the mistake. Credit for that, right? But for fuck's sake, when we got those 2 goals, there is not an ounce of thought in that whole managerial team. It's not only Ange, right? Either he dominates them so much that they cannot say a thing, right? Or all of them are so stuck up their own ass that they cannot, like, you know, change things, and they cannot. It's basic shit. When you watch this game, it's so frustrating because you get a 2-goal head start in 15 minutes against Chelsea, right? This game should be easy after that. I don't, even if Chelsea are better than us, which they are, right? Even if they have better squad depth, when you get a 2-goal head start in 15 minutes, you don't let it slip. Top teams don't let it slip. And what we did, we fucking lost that game for 3. Should have been 4-2, by the way. The last goal was like fortunate, like brilliant play by Maddison, right? But it should have been 4-2, and it could have been more, both for us and for them. I will say that we had like 2 or 3 opportunities where maybe we could have scored 2, right? But
Dogi,
fact of the
Solanke,
matter
and
is,
Son,
yeah,
them 3 should
fact of the
score
matter is,
Great chance,
fact of the matter is, we let that game go, and it's all on the manager and it's all on the players who are exploited, and they drop dead after like 45 or 50 minutes of playing, right? You could see they were physically better, they were well rested, they were just better than us, not only technically but also, in my opinion, physically. I feel like they were physically more prepared for that game. They were, you know, that they rested against Southampton in the middle of the week, right? we brought back Van de Ven and Romero. Both of them went off injured, right? Sorry, go on, Sava. I know you want to say more.
No, listen, I need to go in a second. Just three really quick things. First of all, I'm watching Match of the Day, right? And with the sound off, I don't even need to know what they're saying. I can see what they're saying. They're showing all the tactics of Spurs. And what they're doing is they're putting a great big box and circles around the gaps on the pitch. Right? Are you watching it as well, Maz? You got the same thing?
No, but I can imagine it. Like massive cavernous.
Picture it easily.
They've got
grey rectangle in the middle of the pitch.
It's actually Ashley Williams and Troy Deeney, but I don't even need to hear it still. They're showing that Spurs press with 5 or 6 players, right? Which is way too many. And what they're showing is every time the press doesn't work, they're circling, they're putting a circle around Lavia in the midfield who had no one anywhere near him. And then they put a massive square box around Palmer to show, hey, get the ball into Palmer. Look at the space he's got to operate. Honestly, if anyone can watch Match of the Day, go back and watch the last 5 minutes of it. They're showing all the gaps. They're then putting the massive circles in behind our fullbacks. Now, this is to Stell's point just now. And I promise I've got 3 points and then I'll bugger off. The first point is, how many times do people like me have to come up there every single show and say, if I'm a manager playing against Tottenham, all I need to do is get the ball to my wide men? How many times do we have to have this conversation? If I can see it and you lot can see it, every single football fan can see it. How does the manager not see it? Right? Sancho and Neto. Sancho was much better today, but Sancho and Neto had so much of the football today because we can't defend properly. It's no back four. We don't play in a line. Our midfielders are never actually in midfield, right? The second point I wanted to say was Jamie Carragher made a really good point when he turned around and said every Liverpool manager he had would have been screaming and shouting at the players at 2-0 up to say, drop 10 yards, sit in, kill the momentum of the game. You're 2-0 up. Sit in, don't need to go gung-ho. Right? But he said, the problem you've got is Ange is out here in interviews before and after the game telling opposition managers that that's not what Spurs are going to do. He's telling them ahead of time, we're not going to shut up shop. We don't want to control games. And then we've got fans out here going, but if you have better players, he's telling us, I don't want to control games of football. I don't want to.
I don't do pragmatic.
We don't do pragmatic. You're 2-0 up at home to Chelsea. Kill the game for 15 minutes. Make them break us down. What we do is we go on. There's the freedom of our wings. There's the freedom of midfield. Then they just showed another example there. Again, where Basuma, Pulu, and Sarr are all pressing and then all running back like headless chickens. I watched Fulham Arsenal today, right? Fulham, their 2 midfielders didn't move from midfield. They played as midfielders. They worked hard. They got their tackles in. They went in for their 50-50s. Yeah, they protected the back four. I'm going to leave on this. I'm so sorry, guys. But this guy is the worst tactician I think I've ever seen. Now, we've had shit managers at Spurs, but we've had shit managers that had shit squads at the same time, right? So when you look at the likes of Christian Gross, for example, right, these people had shit teams. This manager is the worst tactician I have ever seen. And the last thing I'll say, if he took over a team in the bottom half, I don't mean Spurs at the moment, but if he got a job and took over a job at a Crystal Palace, a Wolves, a Fulham, with these tactics, he's taking them straight down. He does not know how to set a team up to be pragmatic. Guys, I love you all. Even you, Ian. Even Maz, I love you all. Take care.
That time you smoked some sense, Sav. Good way.
Guys, Football Heritage TV. Like, subscribe, follow Sava.
And I speak for everyone when we're all about to send loads of YouTube montages to Danny of Teddy Sheringham. See you later, guys.
That's it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Right, let me just make myself right on what I said there.
Dan, I'm going to come to you. I just want to bring Alex in because he's been waiting. Box office, welcome
Really,
to the
box
show.
office.
I'm going to let Dan speak before I come to you. Dan, I'm going to come to you. I just got. If I don't do it, I miss it. I just quickly got to do the super chat. Sorry, new channel member Barbaric. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Dan, go for it.
Right, just to put my point straight, what I look on as a skillful player was someone like Berbatov. Berbatov was a skillful player.
He was class.
No two ways about it.
Berbatov was a class.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
As all I was saying about Teddy Sheringham, he wasn't. Don't tell me he was as skillful as Berbatov. He wasn't. But what he did lack in certain departments, like his speed and that, he's the most intelligent player I've ever seen on a pitch. Kane ain't that skillful. He's just bloody good at what he does. He's an all-round player, and what he hasn't got elsewhere, he's got it up there. What I call a skillful player is someone like Berbatov when we had him. So maybe I weighed it up wrong, but I was trying to get to the point of that you got to have the best of both worlds if you're going to be right up there.
I don't want to be a nerd.
Was
Dan,
mentally. He had
I don't want to be a
blatantly.
nerd, but I'm going to be a nerd. Skill is having technique, but being able to do it against an opponent. They both had skill. They were both skillful.
Okay, maybe I'm just looking at it on different.
If you mean dribbler,
perspective, then
that's different. But they were both.
Yes, when I look at skillful, maybe I see it wrong then. When I mean skillful, I mean someone like Berbatov. That had out and out skill as far as I'm concerned. But I suppose people see it in a different way. That's the only point I was making with it.
I wouldn't worry about it. We're going to cook you either way.
Go for gold, mate.
Box office, welcome to the show. I saw you at the stadium. I started chanting Levy out and you ran away. I'll never speak to you again for that. How dare you? You walked away smiling. You actually found it funny. It was kind of okay-ish. How you doing, bro? Good to see you again, man. Do you know what? We never actually got to speak about what we thought about the game because I was on one. But what did you make of it, Alex?
To be honest.
Who did you blame? Who did you criticize, or do you think it was just unlucky? Those penalties, sometimes it happens. You know, where's your head at?
Well, it's quite obvious who's to blame. It's Ange, and I'm now saying that if we can get a better coach in him right now, just get rid of him. I don't think this is changing at all. Sorry, I'm just get rid of him. I'm not making any bones about it. I'm not having a meltdown like some people say because they've got agendas. I'm not changing with the wind. I didn't like the manager from the very get-go, and I've got the proof because I've said it on multiple streams. Even when I didn't even want to stream, everyone knew my opinion. So I'll just get rid of him. I didn't like the performance. I thought the performance, even when we started, I didn't like the performance. Didn't think we were playing well at all. I think we just got goals because Chelsea made mistakes. So
don't you think we forced those mistakes, Alex, with our pressing game and pouncing?
Yeah, but I don't think we play well. I don't think we play well. I think it was just the calm before the storm. It was going to just fall apart anyway, regardless. Because I mean, today, Cole Palmer was exemplary, absolutely exemplary. I thought the midfield of Chelsea's were better than us. They just got composure all over the team. I just think, and this is all on the manager. We are looking like we play like the manager how he speaks. He's all over the place. And I don't think it's changing.
Can we play how the manager speaks? I like
He's a fraud.
We do. It's just like, and then people, and I understand that you want to believe, but it's like, what do you want me to say? I've got nothing to really say anymore. It's like, I'm not even upset. It's just I'm upset myself. I can do better with my time, honestly. I don't even know why I'm going anymore. Because, like, for me, it just isn't. It is getting upset. It was getting boring, and it is really getting boring. You know, I had a nice chat with Ben, Sim. You know, Alex loves Sim and Ben, but Mr. Botser thinks he's deluded. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just like, for me, it's like up.
That was so funny, right? He was going to Ben and Sim like, man, go easy, man, go easy. You know, don't criticize. Right? I'm like, no, I'm just saying, you know, how I feel and whatnot. And then he goes, yeah, but you know, just go a bit easy. And then he puts his hand on Sim. He goes, but you are deluded, isn't it?
You know, listen. It's just is what it is. It's like I said. It's like, you know, like Solanke scored his goal. Okay, cool. Like, but you know, and like the whole decision and putting on Romero and Van de Ven. I'm not being funny. Dragerson, I'm sorry, Dragerson didn't deserve that. I'm not being funny.
I agree.
Like Romero didn't deserve to go back into the team. What has he done? If we're saying that he had a bad season, what has he done? Yeah, I thought the fullbacks were okay. And to be honest with you, to Ian, you might like this. Don't get used to it. Archie Gray weren't that bad at centre back.
Pretty good, wasn't he? Comfortable.
Yeah, he weren't great, but he weren't that bad. But Chelsea
after Chelsea took their foot off the gas at 4-2 up.
That's the point. That's the point.
Chelsea sat back and managed the game.
That's the point. But the thing that annoys me is why are we putting this boy in this position? It is not cool.
He's not.
Because not cool. By centre back. That's
like the Berval thing.
Because we got no one else.
Sorry, go off long for low. Like it's just not.
Our
wingers are absolutely pathetic. And also, I need to say this before I hand it back to Still to make himself known as the host. Like for me, right, the fans that are throwing paper at those Chelsea fans were embarrassing.
Pathetic.
Yeah, embarrassing. And the thing that's so embarrassing about them, they even think about it themselves. These Chelsea players are not like our players, nice guys. They're arrogant. They've got swag. Yeah. So when you throw paper at them, they're sitting there saying, okay. You throw paper at us. Okay, cool. We'll show you at the end of the game who's laughing afterwards. And who's laughing afterwards? The Chelsea players. Because we made them look like that. You know what I mean? So they're the idiots that did it. They're the idiots that did it. The fans that threw paper at them was only motivating them even more because good players are sitting there thinking, you know what? I'll show you. And what will you do? We'll show you right now. We'll throw it in your faces. We'll celebrate with our fans and make it known. Yeah, and who's celebrating at the end of the match? That's the fans. Yeah, and they kept on doing it, and they're going to throw the book at us because of our fans because they think that's a funny and that's it. And I'm sorry, they're idiots for doing that. Yeah, and that that's all I need to say.
I kind of like that, man. In Europe, I've been to games in Europe with not Spurs, but European teams: Cyprus, Greece, Italy, Spain, and I've seen him. Mate, they throw food, drink. Do you know what? It's not right.
It's even worse in Greece and Cyprus. And
it's not right. It's not right.
Go to Turkey.
Yeah,
Turkey, Eastern Europe. You're right, Alex. It's not right. But you know what? When it's the enemy, Chelsea, Arsenal, fuck them. That's their attitude abroad, and I don't mind a bit of that at Spurs. But yeah, you're right. You got to win the game now. Don't do that, then lose because you look like idiots. Yeah, you're right.
It motivated the Chelsea players. Cole Palmer showed you how he's got it up there. Yeah, they're throwing it at him. He's only 18 years old, whatever he is. How many? And he's like sitting there thinking, okay, right, cool. I've got this memory right now in my head. All right, so it's motivating me right now. That's why he chipped that penalty in the fourth goal. That's why he chipped that penalty. By the way, that third goal was class.
We're going to come on to
the first goal for.
You mean the Enzo one?
Oh, the Enzo one was class. Oh,
no, where Palmer took it round about 5 people.
And Sancho's goal. Sancho's goal. Let's get it right.
We're gonna get into let's get into the goals now because I want to discuss the ones we scored and the ones we conceded. But before, there's a game. There's one thing I wanted to bring up a bit earlier when Sav was here, but he's gone. I want to do it now in case any more of you guys drop off. Last season, we capitulated against Chelsea, right? And there was a sending off for Romero for a tackle high on the shin. Now, I don't know what happened because I wasn't watching on TV. I don't know what the situation was with VAR. We were just getting random noise in the stadium. But for me, how this is not a red card, I do not understand. How he got away with that when Romero, for the exact same thing, got a red. Guys, look, for you guys that watched it on TV, talk to me.
Still, I'm going to say
that
this.
I was gobsmacked, man. I was gobsmacked they got away with that.
Still, I'm going to say this because he got away with one. But please, right, because I'm seeing this on Twitter, X, and I had an argument. People are using that.
No, that's not the reason we lost.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Because they say, oh, if Hugh got set off, this disaster that happened today, it would never happen whatsoever. And I'm like, no, absolutely. He could have been set off, straight red, yes, and he deserved it. We were so open. I'm telling you, we were so open. Even with a 10-man Chelsea, they were still going to come back and scored.
What did this
No. I don't agree with that. If they were 10 men, I think we would win that game.
We have to
This tackle happened when we were 2-0 up.
I understand. When you lose a player, right, it can change the game.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, this guy's so naive. We were so freaking open. We had our legs spread wide open.
Murray,
I
I want to stick to the foul. I want to bring back to the foul.
And people are using that.
Murray, I don't.
It is a red. I agree with the red.
Yes.
But people are using it as an excuse of why we lost, and I'm not buying it.
No one is using it as an excuse. But I thought the referee today.
I can name you the accounts, the big accounts who are saying because of that.
They're all Ange and Levy sympathizers.
Murray,
I was arguing for 2 hours.
Murray, the referee today was very lenient with Chelsea with some of their tackling.
He was, yeah.
Very, very lenient.
He was.
Yeah, and Kulu should have been off as well.
As I'll put it.
Yes, but guys,
Kulu should have been off. Go on, Mike.
Yeah, but do you know what a butterfly effect is? I don't know if you.
Yeah, I've watched it.
But basically, it's like when something happens, it changes like the course of stuff, right? Because I agree with Dan. I think that elbow by Kulusevski potentially a red card. I think it was even checked.
Blatantly red card.
But how the fact that Caicedo not get sent off is beyond my understanding. Right,
that's what
and as soon as it happened, as soon as it happened,
Michael, what did they say on the TV? What were the pundits saying? What was VAR saying?
I had Polish commentary, so I don't know what they said in England, right? But
on the TV, they said he should have been gone. They said how he got. Jamie Carragher said how he just got away with that. I will never know. I get there was no aggression in it, but it was a red card.
Same here. They basically said that they don't understand. That they were like. Asking about consistency, what's the consistency in the game, even bringing up scenarios from previous season, the Curtis Jones against us where he's foot slipped over the ball and hit one of our players in the shin, and then and all that stuff, right? But the reason why I'm saying, right, as much as we bottled it today, right, and let's not strain away from those words, I think we bottled it, we were fucking Spursy and whatever, right? I think if correct events happened in the way they did. This tackle happened, I think, when it was 2-0 or 2-1. I think if he got sent off, then I think we win that game purely because of the numbers, the energy, and all that stuff, right? But also, as soon as he didn't get sent off, I immediately said to my girlfriend, "Watch this. He will now contribute to a goal." And what happened? Caicedo was the guy that got fault for the first penalty.
I disagree. I've seen teams.
Mari, come on! We are winning 2-0. Let's not make it as that we are that shit that we would lose against 10 men. I don't agree with that.
If anyone can, Tottenham can.
Tactics.
Of course,
find a way to lose.
Tottenham can win for the Etihad, right? It's just the way this cup goes, right?
Even up to nil. The way that we were playing, I knew that Chelsea was going to come back. They could have lost.
If they were 10
men, going to come back. I've seen 10-man teams.
But Mara, you can't say 10. They go down to 10. You cannot sit here and say it would not have changed the game for a fact. It's only your opinion. Nothing more, nothing less.
Mari,
I've seen my opinion.
Mari, I've seen 10-man teams 10 results around. I've seen 10-man teams getting slapped 7-0 because they collapsed, right? So we can go both ways. So it could have gone either way. I personally think if he got sent off at that point, what was it, 20th minute, then playing with 10 men for next 70 minutes, I think we would have had enough to defeat them at that point, right? But I completely agree, by the way. I don't put the blame of the result on that tackle, right? It's a disgrace that he didn't get sent off, but I also agree with Dan. If we want to be nitpicky, Kulusevski probably should have gotten sent off for that elbow because it was blatantly, just elbowed the guy in the face, right?
There was an advocate with that because obviously Liverpool, don't forget when they were, I can't remember what the score was. When they were with 10 men against us last season, they easily could have still beaten us.
Yeah, but that's what I said, right? I've also seen Yeah, so
I know what in Liverpool were down a man against us, and they
but okay, if you want to put it
Yeah.
like that, if we'd have took some of our chances today, we could have won that. If anything,
Yeah,
no,
it's coulda, woulda,
we could
shoulda,
have still
still
done
happened.
that.
Guys, can I
Fulham
just say,
went 10 men down and looked better than us when we
guys,
played
can
them.
I say, right, in terms of the stats, it's not actually as bad as what the results
Yeah,
show.
I
Right?
agree
If
with
you look,
that.
if we look, let's look at the stats. But possession-wise, they dominated. 62%. They dominated the ball. Okay. Shots-wise, they had 17. We had 13. We still had quite a few shots. They had 8 on target. We had 5, so they were more accurate. In terms of passes, they had a lot more. But then again, that's why they had more possession. But this is the killer for me. Clear-cut chances. We had 6. They had 0. 6, and we only put 2 in the back of the net. So as much as we've criticized the defense, and as much as we've criticized,
They had
the
0 clear-cut chances.
0
Yeah,
clear-cut
because penalties
Few
don't count
penalties,
for that, right?
obviously.
But there was other chances. Palmer should have.
Yeah, I'm
like,
surprised it's 0 because that
Clear-
like Sancho
clear-
chance,
clear-
the Sancho Kukureya, double up that they did, that should have been a clear cut chance in my opinion. But
that's the facts. That's the statistical
Yeah,
data,
yeah.
right? To only score 2, and by the way, the 2 we scored aren't classed as clear-cut chances. Just so you know, they weren't clear-cut
They
chances.
weren't.
So the 6 clear-cut chances we scored 0. Score 1 or 2 of those, and it's a draw.
I mean,
Or
Son
win.
missed an absolute sitter.
Son, Udogie missed one. Solanke. So
Solanke missed a great chance.
you look at it, and questions need to be asked about our attackers. Are they good
Quality.
enough? Are they good enough? Because James Flower comes on the show often and says it's a championship front three. He's kind of got a point when you see stats like that.
Well, we did sign 2
attackers are
players
terrible.
from that who were from the championship, you could argue in some ways, because Solanke.
So now we're going back to my point and Ian's point.
Listen, I've never defended Solanke or Johnson.
This is why I say we're not playing to their strengths. Johnson was the second striker at Forest. I'm not saying he's the best player again. And obviously, Solanke, for all the height that Ian says he's a target man, I don't see us playing it long.
Well, this is I think where the nuance of the argument comes in, because it's quite easy to say, oh, do we have better squads than these teams on paper? And you look at it and you think, you know what, yeah, we do have better squads, right? And then you think, right, okay, well, are the players we bought actually good signings? And I would argue a lot of them are not good signings. But some would say, yeah, but Solanke's still Bournemouth's best player, and I don't know, Odibert was Burnley's brightest spark, I don't know, and Maddison and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes down to the crux of actually executing on the pitch, they're failing us. Right? And then the argument is, okay, is that then the individuals? I would argue yes, because they're getting the chances to do it, right? And then not the tactics. So you can flip the argument around. Then you can say, well, okay,
really, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Solanke's had two good chances today. He's put one of them away. Now, are we relying on a centre forward to have 100% hit rate now? Come on, guys. Harry Kane used to miss.
No, but
I'm agreeing with Ian here.
In isolation of your question.
Service. Solanke does not get service.
But he doesn't put himself into the situation where he can create what he needs to create, or
then at the same time, he's been told to run around like
score.
headless chicken from Ange to press.
Yeah.
So.
The amount of times where he should have been in the box at the end of one of the crosses and he's not there. It's Werner or Johnson, or you know what I mean, or it's Son, and you could argue Son should be there, but and he's missed.
Solanke is the least of our worries up front. I've got to tell you. So Solanke scored 5 in 12, one more, and he's on the same ratio as last season. I'm sorry, he's not the problem this season.
I do agree with that.
Ange's tactics don't suit him. They should be playing more long balls up to him, more long balls into the channel. There's too much tippy-tappy around our area and around midfield. We give the ball away. We gave the ball away so many times today. Now, forget about systems. I hate the system. I can't stand Ange. I want him out. But if you're a professional footballer, you should not be losing possession the amount of times that we did today. It was horrendous. We just played Chelsea into the game. We were giving the ball to them the whole time. The first half an hour was like a boxing fight. It was end to end. It was a mental game. From 30 minutes onwards, we were just giving the ball away constantly. Chelsea just said, thank you very much. They took control of the game and they just went from strength to strength.
It was mental, considering like they had 60-something% possession at our
62%.
ground, right? It hasn't happened in a long time that we were like so dominated on the ball, right? But it is what you said, Ian. We kept giving the ball away. We just kept passing them into play. It's ridiculous, right? I listen, that they have plenty of skillful players who also took control of the game, but I feel like whenever we tried to wrestle the control back, we just gave it away straight away. It was ridiculous watching the team play today.
But Mike, if we don't like the system, if the players aren't suited to the system, that putting that aside, as professional footballers, they should not be making the amount of individual errors, whether it crosses for goals or possession, that our players make.
Kulu shouldn't be losing the ball 30 times in one game like he did the last one.
Correct. You shouldn't be losing the ball 30 times.
Were our players losing the ball, misplacing the passes, and making all these errors when we played Conte-style football?
No,
not as much. Not as much.
One out of the coach. Two, these players.
Alex, you sound like you're in a glass box.
Yeah, your mic is off.
One we got there. Conte's a better coach. Conte's a better coach, right? Two, right? The players are not good enough. They're not fit to do this sort of thing. They're more a counter-attacking transition team.
So they are good enough, just not good enough for Ange's tactics.
Ange's tactics, but yeah, they're all more on the transition.
Ange's tactics
I do think more on the transition. And three, right? We've got no players, right, that are able to have the composure to put the foot on the ball, right, and pass it round. It's so erratic. Most of the and I'm sorry, I'm seeing it more from Fulham's midfielders. I saw the goal for Fulham today, right? That was on the midfield recycling the ball, right? When they had so much pressure on them by Arsenal, they recycled the ball because they've got two midfielders that are very well drilled in that midfield, who know how to compose themselves and just keep it moving, right? And that's why Fulham scored that goal, because it went back to the goalkeeper, goes on to the midfielder that makes the pass over to the striker, which I can't remember, Jimenez, and then he scored. We haven't got any players like that to do that because Ange doesn't ask them to do that. So that's on the manager again.
I think Benson was the closest.
No, read it from Juventus that who's not done enough for me.
By the way, just so you guys know, Dietrich's just informed us Bissouma is suspended for Southampton.
I want to make one point with like the whole system thing, right? This
now. Great. Here's a chance for Gray. Go on, Michael. Sorry, no, go on, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, this is something like I've tried to like say plenty of times. And listen, again, I'm not using this like not even like an excuse, but I think I've tried to highlight it. Right, this system is so taxing physically on those players. Right. First of all, when you look at the wing backs, right, the amount of running those two guys do. And by the way, it's partially bugged because we don't have substitutions for them. Like we don't have a fucking left back at the club other than Udogi, right? Which is just in itself. Right? But
we've got
Region, he will never play, right? You would
never
go
off injured, by the way, or was it?
Yeah, Johnson went off injured today.
So they say.
I don't care.
Coming back to my point, right? I think this system is so taxing physically on the players, which paired up with how thin this squad is, how unprepared we are to play as much as we do, right? I think it just basically forces those players to make like, split-second rash decisions, because instead of being in position to defend as a left back, he just sprints 90 meters, right, from one penalty box to the other penalty box, finds himself in front of the winger, is basically out of his breath, and he has to do his, instinctively do something, right? And I feel like I'm focusing on wing backs, but I think it's also like on different positions on the pitch, right?
Mike, our whole team, just quickly for what you're saying, our whole team has been proven that it runs further than any other team in the Premiership.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly
I'm
my
just
point,
giving you
right?
an example.
Yeah, exactly my point. We are running around like headless chickens for 90 minutes, which further, by the way, proves the point that you guys been making, right? That there is no space in time where we actually go like, let's sit back, let's conserve energy, let's try to rest a bit, right? Because players standing in the back four will rest more rather than fucking running to the opposition penalty box, right? And it's also like the same case with Bissouma, with Sar, and with other players who just keep fucking running all the time. And our squad is not suitable for that, right? Especially with the amount of injuries we have right now. Again, not using injuries as an excuse, but it's a fucking fact, right? That we have so many injuries that we cannot really substitute those players when we need to, right? I think all of this paired up, I said at the beginning when I came in, right? I think we were physically dominated, not only by Chelsea, but also by Bournemouth, by Fulham, because they have more energy, purely more energy. I look at Porro, and I kid you not, I think some of the mistakes he's making is because he's fucking tired. Like, as much as stupid as it sounds, right? When the guy keeps running around every 3 days, 90 minutes, sprinting up and down, up and up,
He's
up and
killing
down,
him.
right?
He's literally killing
85th
him.
minute, he is exhausted. He just doesn't have like the
Every
mental
player-
capacity. Like, he doesn't have enough oxygen in his fucking brain to do like a proper
Every
decision. This
player-
is something that kills me when I watch this.
Every
when I watch
player
this
is,
team.
Mike.
Yeah, every player, and it's-
is. We
every
we
player.
run more than any other team out there, and I think everyone's agreed, or majority, on what I've said before. Go give me the best team you've ever seen. Go give me the best 11 players that you can pick the world has ever seen, and I bet you they still couldn't win a league on this style. It is so. Even the best athletes on the planet, which you have
this
to
is
be
so
to basically be a
frustrating.
footballer, you are not. I said it after 5 bloody games with Ange. You are not going to keep this up with 90 minutes, game after game. You are not going to be able to play this 38 games and cup games of a season. You need to know there is a time in a game, even if you're chasing the game as such, there's still a time where you've got to slow down for a couple of minutes. Get like 5-10 minutes, get the injury back. Right. If it's the last 5-10 minutes, then gung-ho, go for it. Yeah. But we don't sit back at all. The only times we sit back is when we are pressured back. And that's totally different, being pressured back, to actually sitting back on your own head as such. And we don't do that. We could be 2-3-0 up, and we're still keep fucking steaming up the pitch.
Can I respond to the comment? Can I respond to the comment quickly?
Which
right?
comment?
Because
So I can bring
the last one you've highlighted about like anyone complaining about squad depth, right? Listen, what Ange said in his Dambas interview, right, saying that he is satisfied with the squad depth, right, doesn't change the fact that the squad is light, right? I can make an educated guess, or not educated guess. Like, I can make
the squad
a
isn't
criticism.
light. The squad isn't light, then, Michael. It's not.
I think it is.
Okay,
Like,
today, if a centre back gets injured, Dragusin comes on. If a number 10 gets injured, Maddison comes on. If a wing back gets injured, you've got Spence and you've got Reguilon. What is it we're missing? Other than a forward player, a forward player, a wide player, who, okay, we are a bit thin there. Every other position, we're actually okay. It's been over dramatized.
I mean, listen, you can say that Spence and Reguilon can come on as a wing backs, but we know they fucking won't, right? I'm looking at it
But that's not. Yeah, but hold on. Them not coming on. Yeah, but hold on 1 minute, Michael. Sorry, them not coming on by choice of the manager isn't the same as saying the squad is thin.
Yeah, but sorry. Okay, maybe like the point I was trying to make is
that's what that comment
we
said.
don't have-
Whoever complains about squad depth, that's what that comment was about.
Yeah, but I was making a point more like usable squad depth or usable by the manager, right? I'm looking at this manager and how he manages this squad, right? And based on that, I am making like a point that he won't use Reguilon, he won't use Spence, right?
But that's not because of
yes,
squad
we
depth.
have depth.
That's because of
Yes,
his
we
choice
have-
not to bring them
Yes,
on.
we have depth because Bergvall can come on for
I get
Maddison.
what
But
Mike's
what kind
saying.
of fucking depth is it, right? It's not as if we have Eze coming on for Maddison, right? Then I would be saying that there is squad depth, right?
Yeah, but no, you bring
If
on
you've got
Maddison.
7 on the subs, but if
Maddison.
you've got 7
James
on the
Maddison
subs
on the
bench, and there's only 2 the manager will actually
Yeah,
use.
yeah. What Dan said, right? We
That
have
is
9
what Mike's
players on the
basically
bench.
saying.
9 players on the bench, and we are only using like 2 or 3, right?
But
Yes,
but
Bergvall and Gray come on, but
that's the choice of the manager, though, not because the squad
Yeah.
is depth.
I
Listen,
just
but
get what Mike's saying. That's all I'm saying. I get where
my
he's
point
coming
is,
from.
my point is that I don't think it's foolish to say that this squad lacks in certain areas and just diminish my point because manager said that he's happy with the squad, right? I am making my own conclusion. I don't care what he said in the interview, right?
Oh, so,
I'm
okay, I get it.
saying
What you're saying is you disagree with the manager.
Yeah, of course. Like
I get it. Okay, I get it.
we
What
all
he's
do,
doing,
right?
Michael,
Yeah.
what he's doing is he's killing the players
Yes, exactly.
because he's not rotating properly.
Exactly.
Porro's
Exactly my
played
point,
every game, I think, bar one in the league. Udogie looks knackered. Solanke runs God knows how far. The training evidently is massively over-intensive. And in training, they're trying to recreate match situations.
Yeah.
You can't run players into the ground.
Yeah,
he is running the same players.
Ian, do you know what? Do you know what pisses me off here, guys? Do you know what really pisses me off here now? Not you, but what pisses me off with this club. And I'm talking about the fans now. I'm gonna go in on the fans. And the Twitter accounts like the Ben Bowmans, the Mitch Frettons, the Last Word on Spurs, the Cowleys. I'm going to go in on all of them now. These so-called fans, when that transfer window ended, they never moaned about lack of squad depth. They said, yeah, we could have done more, some of them. They never moaned about squad depth. What they said was Solanke, perfect fit for Ange Ball. Gray and Bergvall, we got them before the other clubs did. Brentford wanted Gray. Barcelona wanted Bergvall. We got them. Timo Werner, good bit of business. Good backup, they called him. Yang, he looks good. He comes in, right? And I sat there and I banged on about saying, until I was blue in the face with all these people, and I said, last year we capitulated playing in one competition because we crashed out the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. We capitulated with this squad. We need to rebuild the first team, move the good players in the first team who aren't quite good enough onto the bench and get rid of that entire bench. Until we do that, how are we going to compete in Europe, Carabao, FA Cup and League? In what world does that happen? That's not what the fans were saying. So many fans were not saying that. Now that the reality of everything we said then has kicked in, we're now going to moan about, not you, you're just giving your opinion. But when I see fans online saying, Ange wasn't backed, there's no squad depth, you can all go kiss my ass because you hounded people like us when we told you this back in August. And we're the ones that get called poison and toxic. Sorry, you're the poison for selling that false hope to everyone, where we were saying, what are you talking about? What on earth are you talking about? And now, oh, Levy out, Ange out, this doesn't work. But we told, what do you think we were doing all this time? And we were the criminals. So it pisses me off when this conversation comes up, Mike. Not you're doing, Mike. But
I am consistent in that opinion. I said the same thing in August and June, right? June, July, whatever, right? I said the same thing. I said that in terms of outgoings, fair enough, they got rid of the players I wanted them to get rid of, right? But in terms of incomings, sorry, this transfer window has been a shambles, right? And I fucking said it in the summer, right? That those problems that are coming up right now, we all did, right? All fans with breaks, right? We all did. We said it that those exact problems that we are facing now will come eventually in that season, right? And I said that the lack of left-sided, wing back, that we don't have another left back at the club, right? The lack of proper cover for Van de Ven, the lack of proper cover for Vicario, the lack of proper cover for all the other positions, right? The lack of senior center mids. We all said it, right? We said that in terms of incomings, this window is a shambles, right? But
we needed Eze, Gallagher,
exactly.
But we needed all of them. We needed all of them.
Yeah, but then we have this fan base, and I have to fucking argue in August with some of the fans that Werner is a good signing, right? And I give them 45 names that I think are better than Werner, and I get counter arguments for every single one of them, right? And Werner knows the system. Werner contributes, right? The fuck he does. He doesn't contribute.
What he did with the transfer window. Transfer window was split into three.
Come to you next, Mario.
Split into three. Right, you got to bring players in. You got to clear out your deadwoods because you can only play 25. You've only got 17 non-homegrown players for the Premier League. So you cleared out your deadwood. Great. You go and buy some good kids. Every club buys good kids. You've got to think about the future as well. They did that. Tick it off. Great. Got rid of 4, 5, 6 established players only brought in one. That's where they went horribly wrong. You needed those established players. We weren't going to be knocked out the League Cup again first round this year. Probably, we're certainly not going to be knocked out the FA Cup early. I wouldn't have thought this year.
We nearly went out to Coventry, mate. We nearly did it.
We did. No, we nearly did, but we didn't. We didn't, and we played. You know, we got a minimum of 3 games. I've got to tell you something. Amarim's got as big a problem as we have with Ange, because Amarim's got a pile of shit there as well. And you can see he needs to build. He needs to clear out God knows how much as well. So we got every chance. We got every chance to beat it. Still, the point I'm making is we've got every chance of beating United, because they're we're above them as well, aren't we? I mean, they're even lower than us. So there's plenty of games, and he needed a bigger squad, a much bigger squad. And you can't turn around. It's unfair on the kids. And I think Graham Bergvall acquitted themselves very well today. But you've got to have more experience coming in.
I thought he actually looked quite good when he came on. I thought Bergvall looked quite good. But Mari, let me come to you, because I know you've got to go. You wanted to quickly touch on, is it Hyun-Min's son you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Today for me, it was in regards to Son, that opportunity to take the lead, where he just literally shanked it. And I would be a hypocrite if I did stick to my policy. I said this maybe a season ago. I said the problem with this club, number one, is too nostalgic. Also, two, we don't know when to sell high, right? When you look at stocks and you look at, even in sports, great teams, it doesn't matter which sport, you kind of have to know when to sell your best player on the high. You don't want that player to depreciate. And so it goes back down to Sonny. Wonderful servant for our club. And the difficulty is that, we don't have, this is Spurs we're talking about. We don't have plans, right? We don't have vision, right? The big clubs, Real Madrid, they have no problem being ruthless. Bye-bye Ronaldo, right? Barcelona, bye-bye Messi. Like these things, they are normal, right? Thank you for serving our club. Thank you for the trophies. You got to go. But man, we got to come to a point where now, of course, not this season, I'm not talking about January, but there has to be a plan. Once again, we're talking about Tottenham here, where he's already depreciating, in my opinion. We today, for me, was just like, yeah, we got to come up with a plan to say bye-bye to Son. I know he's our best finisher on the squad, and probably lead us in goals by the end of the year. But we have to, like I said, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't. Yeah, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say that we have. What I'm saying is we have to come up with a plan to get something for him, because he's on the other side of the hill, in my opinion. And he might score a hat trick the next game, make me look like a fool. But still, if you know what, he scores a hat trick, then sell, right? Like I say, sell high. And so for me, in regards to Son, man, it's yeah, I know James wants his apologies whatsoever. I'm not apologizing, but I'll say for today, for me, I'm seeing the writing on the wall in regards to Son. Great guy. I don't think he's the greatest captain.
Mari, do you know what? For the first 30 minutes, he looked bang on it. You know that? He looked really like the old Sons. Like, wow, yeah. And then he lost the plot.
He doesn't have the same style anymore, though.
I know what you're saying, but even then,
it was only 30 minutes. The other 60 minutes was.
You can only really. That's why if we plan for the future, right? In the summer,
our top scorer, see there in those 30 minutes, and that's what I'm saying. We have to capitalize, right? That's what the good clubs do, right? As ruthless as it sounds, we got to sell high. Like there has to be a point where we have to sell him. We can't come to a point where he fully depreciates and we get nothing for him, And I understand, right? Look at our other options. But right now, this season, Sonny will tell you he hasn't been great this season. And so
last game he was absolutely shocking. That's the worst I've ever seen him play in his last game.
I know he's everybody's favorite. I love Sonny, but I'm just seeing the writing on the wall today.
I think the problem is, Maury, is because we named him as a club captain. He's not. Percy's nowhere near captain material. He shouldn't even be there. But obviously, I think he was named for PR reasons anyway, and we've got that issue. So, and I think the club. This is just my personal opinion. We'll try and make him into a club ambassador or something like that, and then try and get him to push the new Korean guy. I forgot his name now. It's like his replacement. And trying to push the Spurs fans to love him, basically, or whatever. And that they'll see him as the
and I get what I mean. Walk away gracefully, but here's the thing: who walks away gracefully in sports? I'm not even talking about football. Like who walks away gracefully?
This is why, Maury. We should have
walked away
winger in the summer. Winger in the summer, a top striker, and then said, "Son, you're going to be used as a rotational player."
Yeah, that's what I said last year.
And that might be the plan. And
no, but I think we should have done last summer, or even maybe the summer before that, but we didn't do it.
Look,
So
the thing is with Son, and this is how do I put this? The thing is with Son, fans are looking at him like a woman looks at herself like in her 50, whatever, 45 when she hits her brick wall, and
yeah.
It's game over basically. But she still thinks she can make something of herself. It's sorry, you've hit your brick wall. You ain't getting better. And we all want Son to get better, but he's hit his brick wall.
He's not going to get
There's no coming back. It's only going to get worse. Like I said, with the other one, when it hits its brick wall, it's game over. It's only downhill from there on, and they sort of age like cheese. They age like cheese. That's it. They age like cheese, not red wine. If you know what I mean. Red wine gets better.
I said this before. The great
if that's
players,
the right way to put it.
Yeah, the great players or the players coming to the end of their careers, they adapt their game, right? And managers bring them in, or they change the tactics to
Position.
the positioning to allow them to make that adaptation. But at Spurs we haven't, and we're sort of relying on the old Son to still be there, and he's clearly not there. If another manager came in, I would envisage them using Son completely different to what they're using him now.
3-5-2.
Yeah, I think I can see him in a two up front type role. And if he can't do it in that scenario, then he'll have to go to a slower league where he can cut it. Whether that's Italy or Germany again, or not that Germany is that slow of a league, but
to be fair, Germany is quite fast.
Yeah, but
I think
you know what I mean. Anyway,
maybe it was said 100 mil. We gotta listen. Like
no one's
saying that
he's going to go on a free. He's not going for any money.
By the way, guys, his contract is up at the end of the season.
They want to give him another year.
He didn't sign it. No, he didn't sign it yet.
He didn't sign it. Oh, okay, all right.
Yes,
the problem
there were like reports about it, right? But I'm not sure he has already signed it. I believe they will give him another
we'll
year.
Find out. We'll find out. We'll find out.
They're going to give him another year.
I want to let Scott go.
The problem I see with Son is he's declining. I think everybody agrees with that. The problem is that he's declining and he's still our best attacker. Like everything has said could happen. But we don't bring anyone better, and that's why it looks like I'm defending Son. I think Son has been terrible this year, but he's been better than every other attacker we have.
No, he hasn't.
The issue isn't that.
No, he hasn't. Johnson scored 10.
We're not going to get into this stupid argument again. Like he's got more goals and assists in the Premier League than everyone.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has in the Premier League.
No, he hasn't.
Who has more goals and assists?
Johnson.
Madison and Johnson. Madison and
Johnson doesn't have more goals and assists in the Premier League.
Yes, he does.
Madison has 4 goals and 5 assists.
Is it 5 and 2 or 5 and 3?
Don't know where you get your legs from, Scott.
And 4 assists. Johnson has 6 goals and 1 assist. 8 is bigger than 7.
Why 1?
Right? Like, are we arguing about silliness?
Well, Scott's right then. His point was right then.
He's not. Johnson has more goals and assists
In the Premier League.
In the
Premier League.
But I kind of agree with Son. Though, yeah. I think Son's a better player.
Can somebody fact check this? Because I can't sit for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Son has after today. Son has 4 goals, 4 assists. Johnson has 6 goals, 1 assist. Yeah. And Maddison
has got more.
Yeah, and Maddison is 4 plus 5.
Right, Ian,
right?
Your facts are wrong. Scott's are right. In the
because
I'm going to check how many goals Johnson has made in this season.
Our Polish international expert has just done a...
I checked it on Transfermarkt.
Our in-house data analytics.
Yes.
And once again, sorry, Lena in the chat.
I'm going to check all the goals. I'm going to check all the goals and see how many.
Listen, I checked it. I checked it, Ian.
Let's move on.
Ian, just put your hands up, mate. Just put your hands up.
But even if it's like,
let's go to VAR.
Yeah,
I
already did.
Got the same. Like, that's still the point, is that Son has played so bad, and we have to see whether somebody has maybe 1 more goal or maybe 1 more assist. Like, it should be clear as day that our best attacker is better than Son. There should be no argument. If we want to be a serious team, our best attacker this year should be clear of Son.
Okay.
That's where the ultimate problem comes in. Is if
hang on, so are we saying then that the Premier League is the only thing we judge players on?
For me,
all the other matches are meaningless. So Spurs, by some miracle, if Spurs get to the Europa League final and Johnson scores, it doesn't matter. We've won a trophy.
He's rubbish.
He's
rubbish.
That's not the argument, Ian. Don't make stuff up. I said
it's rubbish, though.
We're not talking about ability, we're talking about goals. And Johnson is our best striker this season.
He's a below average Sterling, below average Sterling.
One second. Guys, stop.
Johnson has scored more goals than any other player.
Well, that shows how quality the Premier League is then.
Alex, 1 second, guys.
Wait,
Ian,
we are?
So, Scott, 1 second. I want to ask Ian something based on what he said. So, Ian, if Brennan Johnson scores 2 goals against Qarabag, but Son scores 1 against Man City, are you calling that the same kind of way of judging a player? That's what Scott's doing. That's what Scott's doing.
I'm talking about looking at 22 games this season.
No, Scott's saying just Premier League because in the Carabao Cup we played Coventry. In Europe we played Qarabag, Ferencváros, AZ Alkmaar. These aren't really teams where we judge the quality of our players, is it? Whereas when you play Liverpool, Villa, City, Fulham away, it's more challenging.
I must tell you something. We've all been. Everyone has been saying rather have Sonny up front. I mean, look at Sonny today. I think it's sad. I think he's been a fantastic servant.
Hang on the left.
And I love Sonny, but watching him decline, and particularly today, it was really quite sad watching how poor he was.
Yeah, but that's not Scott's argument. But hold on. Scott's argument is Sonny, who's on the decline, who's not playing great, who probably needs to be moved on, is outperforming the guy we think's the best we've got, Johnson.
No, he's right on what he's saying, yeah. But if you want to put it from,
that's quite alarming. When you put it that way, it's actually very worrying, isn't it?
But if you want to put it from a different
neither of them are what you need.
A lot of grilled Harry Kane when he got 30 goals this season because 7 to 10 of them were penalties. Oh, the penalties, they're just fucking penalties. That ain't scoring in the game. At the end of the day, if you want to add it all up together, Johnson has been our most prolific striker. Or do only Premier League.
That shows how bad the Premier League is then, Dan.
I'm not saying he's good. I'm not rating him at all.
I'm sorry, you just summed it all up perfectly for me there. Right, if we're going to start saying Johnson's a good, he's scoring loads of goals. Facts is telling us yes, he does. But that just shows you how bang average the Premier League is then. I'm sorry. This is why I keep on saying it.
It shows how bang average our team is, Alex. Not the Premier League,
but it's bang average the league then. If we're going to start talking about that, because they'll say that they're not even in the top not even in the top echelons of goal scoring. Here
it's true. We've got nobody in the top 10 Golden Boot. Nobody in the top 10.
No, not at all. The point I'm making is every goal counts, whether it's in the Premier League, the League Cup, whether it's in the Europa Cup, whether it's against Qarabag, whether it's against.
But it's not a measure of the quality of the player, is what Scott's saying.
Listen, Dan,
I know. Right. But the only point that's being made
what your point is not the point Scott was making. But it's 2 different arguments here.
But Scott, okay, maybe I misunderstood.
But you know what? I'll say this then. if you want to say that Johnson's our best attacker, the argument is still the same. That's awful.
I don't think he is. I don't rate him.
I don't rate him
sad
either.
thing
I'm
is-
sorry. I see Sancho. I see Sancho, and I see.
Son's a better player. I think Son's a better player.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
when
but
I see
I'm-
Sancho and that other player, Cole Palmer, I'm sorry. He's not even touching these players.
We know,
I'm
Alex. We're agreeing
sorry.
with you.
Alex, we're not comparing Spurs
I know,
players.
but it's just like this is the level, bro. This is the level. This
We're
is what I
talking
talk
about
about.
strikers. We're talking about
We're
our
agreeing with you, Alex.
We're mid-table. That's where we are. We deserve to be
Yeah,
there.
no, Ian, bless
Let
you.
me, ask,
You know,
let me ask you a question. This is a really relevant question. Let me ask everybody and everyone watching this question. When we're looking forward to a Spurs match, when that first whistle goes, how many players do you think you can guarantee are going to have a good game? How many?
1,
2 or
that
3.
was Van de Ven.
How poor is that?
Okay,
Seriously.
bro, I've been like you shouldn't.
That's why I'm Levy out.
Ian, I
Lange
don't
out,
want to.
Ange out.
Ian, I don't want to
Says it
sound
all,
like I'm
doesn't
having a go.
That
I
says it
don't.
all.
A whole lot.
That's why I
I
want it
don't
all
want to sound like I'm having a go at you because, like, you're a nice man, yeah, and you always come on, you give you good points, yeah. But I don't, I don't rate this team. Like,
No,
I
I'm
agree.
just
I
saying to you.
agree with.
I had people saying to me, Alex, you're wrong. Sava was saying to me, you're wrong. We should be higher than this. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and I don't think the players are as good as people think they are.
But we agree with
I
you.
think they're better
And
than
my
what
point
you're
is,
saying
how
they
many
are.
players can you guarantee are going to turn in a 7 out of 10 when that first whistle goes?
Ian, if
Under
very,
Ange
very
or just
good.
in general?
Sorry?
Under
Under
Ange
Ange,
or if we had a different manager? Because my answer would be different if we had Conte or Ange. I think the players are this bad because Ange is there putting them in terrible positions. And if you
Every
had Conte
player
here, I would
has come
rely on a
down.
lot more players playing in
I'm
the
not
right
saying it's Scott, the system doesn't help them. There's no question. There are players playing out of position. But the point I'm making is that you won't see Cole Palmer give the ball away, or Caicedo, or any of those Chelsea boys give the ball away the way our players did today. Now, these are professionals and they know how to control the ball, how to kill a ball, how to look up, read a pass and give a pass and make sure it gets to their player. I'm sorry, they were poor today. They've been
If you
poor.
put them in our system, they would.
I totally get what you're saying, Ian.
It doesn't
yeah?
matter
And
what
I've even-
system you're playing.
And I'll
when
be,
you're
but
on
yes,
the ball,
it does. Bollocks.
No, it doesn't. No,
Sorry,
it
mate,
doesn't.
I ain't having that. No,
Okay.
I've said there's 1 or 2 players in this team that ain't got the mental capability that they should have. 1 or 2, yeah? You go and play this team to what they're best at, to a counter-attacking, pressing football, if you want to call it that, from your own half, counter-attack. Every single player on that pitch, bar maybe one in his day, will look better. Every single player in that team, bar maybe Johnson now and Kulu, since we're playing him in the middle at last, has regressed. Every player. Vicario looks worse. Van der Ven looks worse.
No,
Romero
Vicario's
looks
fine.
absolutely...
He's fine.
No,
Vicario's fine.
Vicario looks... Okay, I'll give an opinion there. Porro looks worse. Adoji looks worse. Basuma getting worse by the game. Bentancur never made it back. Sarr has been getting worse since last season. Kulusevski looks better where we play him in the middle. Maddison, he just still hasn't come back since those first 10, 12 games last season. Johnson, okay, he's putting a few tip-taps in the net. That's his job. Son looks absolutely shot. Okay, the fresh one we've got is Solanke. We can't really judge him until the end of the season. On every other player we've got has regressed. The only 2 that I can actually think have got better is Kulusevski, because he's in the middle, and Johnson tapping in a few goals. Every other player has regressed. Tell me one that ain't.
But if you say why are we below these teams, it's very simple.
I didn't ask that.
No,
I said,
right.
tell me one that hasn't.
No, they have gone backwards. But the reason why we are where we are is because the other teams above us, the players are making less mistakes.
No, not just
because
that.
they're put in
It's down
better
to their
positions. So they don't
managers
need
are
them.
totally
making less
sussing us
mistakes.
out.
Forest
Their
are making
managers
less
are totally sussing it out. Then why is it every team goes, when they come to us, goes right, left, right, when them 2 are inverted in the middle, bang, 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 sooner or later the goal comes. They even catch us down the middle at times. It's the
Guys, by the way,
tactics, man.
if I can, right? Because even like today on one of the like supporters group, Polish supporter groups on Facebook, right? Someone asked a question like, what would you attribute this loss and this form to, right? What one thing would you focus on, right? And I gave like a long answer saying like you can't really pinpoint one thing, right? Because I both agree with Mas, I agree with Ian, I agree with Stelios, right? It's on the players, it's on the manager, it's on the ownership. It's basically everything for me. The way I look at it, right? I think it's just a one biggest fucking shithole, right? Because as I said, right, the system is fucked up, right? The players are underperforming because I think the criticism on the players is hugely warranted, especially today. Bissouma and Sarko, like those two penalties, what a joke, right? The tackles that they did, even though like I agree with, I think Stel, you said that if Bissouma doesn't make a tackle, they have a clear-cut opportunity. I agree with that, right? But to start like recklessly slide through the penalty box, it's an issue, right? I think players are underperforming partially because of the system, right? Then it's on the system, but also the system is fucked up because we don't have enough quality. That's on the ownership, right? I think it's all like that. I can't really like pinpoint and say one thing, right? I don't think it's only players. I think it's players in the system under this ownership. That's the way I look at it, right? Unfortunately, I said it plenty of times. I would prefer it if we had one place of focus where I would love it if we as a Spurs fan base could say, listen, our ownership is great, our manager is great, but our players are shit, right? So we know where to focus and where to improve, right? I wish it was any other way around, right? I wish we had great players, great ownership, but a shit manager. We know what to do at that point, right? But at our current situation, I honestly don't fucking know what to change. I don't know from which side we should tackle it, right? That's why I said like I think it was 3 days ago after Bournemouth, right? Preferably I would change the ownership, but I don't think ownership changes soon, right? So for me, the next place to change is the manager, right? That's why I said it. And by the way, you guys wanted me to come off the fence, right? The reason why I was partially on the fence is because I don't want to sack a manager, not because I don't want to sack Ange, a manager in general, whoever it was, right? I don't think it's necessarily in our cup, it's necessarily always the manager's fault, right? But I think they are the scapegoat until the ownership changes, and it won't change, right? Because I can't change ownership on the spot, and it means that players and manager have to change. We are in the middle of December. I can't change the players, so I have to change the manager, right? As stupid as it sounds, but I agree with all of you guys.
But this
right?
situation's unique, Michael, because and the reason why it's unique is not where we are in the league or the tactics or anything like that. It's because Ange Postecoglou parrots what Levy wants him to parrot at will.
Yeah.
That's why we need to sack him.
Because
for me, there's no
I agree
difference
completely.
between
I think
Levy being in the press
he should
room
be sacked tomorrow.
and Ange.
I completely agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Guys, can we? I want to go on to Levy in it because we haven't discussed it, and this is a subject that's also winding me up. And the reason is, before the game, right? There was a light show, so that we can show the whole world that was watching this game. They wanted to put on a show. They wanted to entertain the TV viewers. I couldn't believe the rut that we're in, the situation going on at the club. This is how they think to galvanize us. We then did this TIFO in the stands. I felt nothing for that TIFO. A lot of people in the stands are like, what's the point?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything because if it's not reflected on the pitch, it doesn't matter what we do in the terraces anymore. These two, for me, are the biggest problem. And I've said it 1,000 million times, right? Now, as much as I blame them, our fans are useless. After the game, right, we've just lost to Chelsea, right? We've just lost to fucking Chelsea. This is what I see, right? This is after the game. Packed, right? JP and I eating, drinking, throwing money at it. I do an interview with JP. This guy comes over with a beer. He's like, unacceptable. He's drunk. I was like, okay, he's drunk. And I go, who do you blame for today? No, yeah, I'm on the fence. Said, no, I'm not asking where your position is as a fan. I'm asking who do you blame for today? Oh, it's not Ange. It's not Ange. Okay, who do you blame? He goes, Levy. You blame Levy? Yes, Levy. He's holding a beer he's just bought, feeding the guy he's blaming. All right, he's drunk. But the point is, what chance have we got as a club, right? And I get these messages. I'm going to show you one. I get them all the time now. I get them all the time. Messages like this. Where did I put the comments? Right. Cockney Geezer, big fan of the channel, always watches. Last word on Spurs are really slapping Levy. Right. They were gunning for him today. Chris Cowlins mentioned Levy. Ali Gold's put a tweet out about Levy. And I'm like, I don't care. Good. You're acknowledging they're the problem, but your words mean nothing because if we go on a 3-game winning streak, that dies. You won't say it. I just feel words mean nothing anymore because I'm looking at behaviour, and the behaviour is light show, drink, food. We've lost 4-2 to Chelsea. There's no point calling it out if you're not going to then back it up and do something. And this guy here is absolutely right. You guys don't protest. It's all talk. Has been for years. Your supporters trust this Levy for season ticket prices, but your ground is still sold out this season. Fans got to drop the virtue signalling. And for me, guys, I went to today hoping there'll be a Levy out chant. At 4-2, nothing. Mm-hmm. The atmosphere was rubbish, right? As soon as Chelsea equalised, our atmosphere was rubbish. And I'm thinking, we are getting battered. You're not happy with the squad. You've got an issue with the guy up there. All the fan channels are now calling out Levy. It's rampant on the socials. People, let's have a debate. Let's have a group therapy session. At what point are we going to... Okay, it's true. This is what they're doing. It's all virtue signalling for now. It's all just rhetoric. At what point do they say, do you know what? Last one on Spurs today. There was a guy on there saying that until their pockets are hurt, they're not going anywhere. The only way to hurt them is their pockets. And then one of them goes, do you think if A, B, and C was to happen, never mentioned protest, never mentioned demonstration, never mentioned boycott, do you think maybe if Amanda Staveley took over the club that perhaps, there's a negotiation going on, and would that investment, if she doesn't buy in, would that maybe make them change their... I'm thinking, what on earth are you talking about, man? You did the first 30 minutes of your show moaning about Enoch and Levy, yet not one of you on the show mentions boycott, demonstrate, or protest. And I listen.
I think, Stel.
Baz, to conclude, I just want to conclude it. I don't want to hear words from anyone if they've got an issue with the owners, because your actions are non-existent. They are literally... I was the only one shouting Levy out today. I proper shouted it out. No one cared. So, he's just moaning.
Stel, I think that the reason why the channels don't mention those 3 things you said, protests being the main one, right?
Not just those channels, all Twitter, journalists.
Yeah. I think if they even utter something like that, they'll get instantly banned by the club, like instantly, right? So they dare not say it, and they dare not say accidentally, which I think it's almost like it's almost like the state suppressing free speech, isn't it? They know, and them being scared that the police are going to pay them a visit, like the Stasi. Right? They know that as soon as they mention anything like that, I'm being serious, as soon as they mention anything like that, they're literally going to burn any bridges they have with the club, and they'll probably have all of their rights, whatever those rights are, or access,
whatever.
So that, I think, is
but
why
they say we don't have rights. We're not connected to the club. We don't have this.
Well, we don't. That's all bullshit. I mean, Chris Cowlin was posting up pictures of him hugging Ange the other day, or whatever it was, and
they all get invited on Sky Sports, Talk Sport,
exactly,
and they get that
right?
kind of access. So maybe that's
and they know that Spurs could probably ring up Sky Sports and say that guy there is bad news. He's promoting protest and violence or something like that, and then they'll instantly not have them on ever again. So it's a fear culture that's been I think implemented by Tottenham Hotspur to these influencers effectively.
It's what all big companies do, Maz, isn't it?
Yeah, they do that. Yeah, absolutely, right.
But Gary Neville slams the Glazers every time he's on TV.
Because
he can. That's Gary Neville.
He's too big to be banned.
Yeah, he's too big.
Yeah, right. Hoddle's too big to be banned. Right. They're too big of people.
All the Man United fan channels, all the big ones, and they're far bigger than anything Spurs has got.
This is this is why my son on the way to the ground was reading out the tweet from Ali Gold, and we were quite shocked because that, you know, if the club cut off his interviews, that's him done.
Yeah, but what he didn't say protest. All he said is don't sack Ange.
No, he didn't. No, he was no, it was purely slaughtering Levy and Enoch.
What did he say?
He really went after. I'm going to try and find the tweet. He went after Enoch, and we were like quite shocked about it because normally
I think
Ian. But not once does he say fans need to stand up against it.
Exactly,
fans need to take action, and this is the problem. All it does is it makes the people that follow him say, "Well said, Ali. Good."
Yeah. Yeah, and the fan and the ownership doesn't mind that because it splits the fan base even more. It fractures them. No one can unite behind anything, etc.
Divide and conquer.
Exactly. So, so still, I think I'm of the opinion now that the only way anything's going to happen, and I've honestly given up on protest. We're never going to protest as a fan base. I think that's dead in the water now. I really believe that. The only way anything's going to happen, right, is if Ange stays and then we sink further down in the table and the club have to react, right? Or it lasts for another 3, 4, 5 years and it gets to the point in like where it's a 30-year period, right? And then people say, oh my God, it's been 30 years. You know, the club's a loser club and their brand reputation goes down. Whether or not that will actually happen, I don't know. But I think he's got to that point, if I'm honest with you.
Maz, me and you was having this debate talk with Saba the other day, weren't we? Basically. And the thing I personally believe is social media is probably the third most powerful thing on this planet, bar religion and money. The reason I say that is because anything on this planet or anything in a certain place on here can get changed purely by social media and the amount of way people can speak their mind as they wish on things like X. All right, you get things like Facebook and that where you get arrested for saying the wrong word about a certain person, but either way, you can get your word about a lot more, a lot quicker, a lot better now and get backed up in a lot of things these days. Social media is, like I said, it's the third most powerful thing on the planet. I mean, what do you think was one of the main things that just won Donald Trump? Social media was one of the main things that done it. If we managed to get it across and actually got people back it up in the aspect of, I get the picture, the protests ain't going to happen, whatever. It's all hitting hope and everything. And with that, you start getting enough people thinking and just going to games and not buying stuff at the stadiums like you're saying there and doing that and just go to games. That would damage them in their pocket to the point where they would have to think about doing something, not necessarily sell up. But will it happen?
Dan, before you go down this road, right? We discussed this with Saba, and there's one point that we didn't say clearly enough because I was thinking about this earlier today. It's activism. Yes, you're right. Social media is powerful. Yes, you can get the word out there. You can galvanize people, but you need the activism element of it. You can have people. You can have millions of people upset online, but unless there's a proportion of very loud people being activists and going out there and doing things, nothing's going to change, right? And that's the biggest problem. And I fear in our fan base, there's no activists in there willing to do anything, right? There just isn't. And I don't know what the solution is to that. If I'm honest with you, I don't know what the solution is. I personally want to believe that if this goes on long enough, that even the most staunch Levy lovers will think, you know what, it has actually been a long time, and every regime ends at some point. We may need to just wait it out. It's getting to that point. I'm sad to say it, but it is getting to that point. But I agree with you. I agree with what we're saying. If we had activists, right, and we relied on the things you said, like that, like social media, then something can happen. But there's no one willing to do it. There is no one willing to do it in any great number, and that's the problem.
That is the problem. That's basically what I'm saying. If you could even get it across that much, that a few hundred would start doing it in the stadium, and then it goes on from there, and then things get
when
worse.
It was the most
pub
toxic, right? When it was the most toxic under Jose and Conte, we threw everything at it. Protests in the stadium, away, and it didn't work.
No, I'm not denying none of that. I'm just saying that was how you'd think things would work if we had a fan base that was actually willing to stand up for itself. We haven't.
Well, this is it. This is my point. Like I go to games and some of the things I hear in the stands from fans, I just think, like, what planet are you on? You know, you can't blame Levy. Look, look at the stadium. Look what he's done for us, man. What has he done for you, man? What has he done for you? Do you know my ticket today? I've got the cheapest season ticket in the stadium. I get rid of my tickets every week. Some I sell, some I just don't even turn up to, right? And I said, I'm going today because I think there's going to be a chance it'll be a bit of a protest and I need to be involved. I looked on the exchange. If I sell it, what my ticket was worth. I've got the cheapest ticket today, yeah? £80, 100 euros. For that shit I saw today.
Do you know how much my ticket would have cost on ticket exchange still?
You sit in the box, don't you?
No, I don't sit in the box. I sit
You're
top
the
floor. West Ham. My ticket's not even the most expensive ticket up there on the fifth tier. My ticket would have cost £109.
See, imagine paying that, being served up that. And your feeling afterwards is, right, let me go give him a beer. Let me give him some money.
I must tell you, still, my son and I can't make the Liverpool game in 2 weeks' time. I put the tickets up on Ticket Exchange on Wednesday or Thursday. Mine went in 3 minutes. My son's went in half an hour. Gone. Sold.
I got rid of my Liverpool ticket in under a minute.
See, Dan said the right thing. If the fan base wants it, I think the problem that we have, the fan base doesn't want it. Look at YouTube. There is 3 big channels, and I don't mean to, I'm going to forget people's small channels because Alex's channel is great. But Dan's channel, Stell's channel, Sava's channel. Is there any other channels?
Brian Daigle bashes it quite hard.
Even on Daigle's channel, though, that's half. There's a lot of people on Tottenham tour that are not Levy out. Even with Daigle, right?
Ryan's Levy out. Ben's Levy out. Brian, they're all Levy out there.
Brian Ireland is Levy out.
I cannot believe, Scott.
Not Levy out.
By the way, Scott,
Ryan is, Ben Coffin is. They're both.
I know. Still, can I just go back a little while? Can I just say, Scott, neither of us are right, because Johnson is 6+2 because he assisted today and he assisted for Kulu.
Are you still going back to that? You've been researching
Johnson's on 8 and Solanke's on 8 and Son's on 8.
All right, they're all equally shit then.
But Madison's on 9. Madison's on 9.
Oh my god!
The problem we have to argue that. The real problem is that we have to argue about that.
Just going back. As far as I was saying on Sav's show before, I woke up this morning, I put the telly on, and I missed half a headline, and it said 24-year rule has ended. And I thought, no, has Levy sold out? And it was about Assad, and I thought, shit, it's the wrong guy. It should have been Levy. It should have been Levy getting out, because until I don't understand all these channels, they have followed. A lot of them aren't just kids that have just come in and just followed Spurs for the last 20 years. There are guys on these channels that have followed Spurs all over the place. Cowling goes to every single match, literally all over the world. I think I go to a lot. He goes to pretty much everyone, and he must have seen the glory days from the last century. Some of them, and you just.
He's in his mid-40s. He's seen 1991 was the highlight of his Spurs fan.
Really, and you know, if these owners sell tomorrow, they will take away. They have spent 220 million. They spent 22 million buying 29% of Sugar shares when they bought the club, and then with various share issues, they have now taken up their expenditure, their purchasing power. They have spent 220 million. So if they get 3 billion, 3.5, 4 billion, 4.5, whatever it is, it's a massive profit that they have made. They have put no money of their own into the club. They've left us with 800 million of debt. They walk away with a fantastic profit. And what have the fans had from their tenure? One trophy. That's it. One trophy. And before people turn around and say, oh, we bottled it in finals, this and that, we've been at semis and finals. If they would have invested in the club like they should have invested in the club, we would have had stronger squads like the teams that we played in those finals, like Chelsea and Liverpool and Man City, and maybe, not guaranteed, just maybe, we'd have had more silverware. We'd have certainly beaten Portsmouth.
Ian, the thing is, our fan base is that weak that it's exactly what Stell just showed. I think I'll say most of the supporters want us to do better. I can't think of a support that wouldn't want Spurs to become a Man City or whatever. But Stell just banged it on the head there. And in a way, the answer to me is that simple, but it's not simple at all. It's sort of contradicting it, but it is that simple. Still go to the games and then just fuck off out. Don't spend the money. Just go out. But the fans won't. The fans just won't go and do it. I mean, it's like other things that happen in the world as such. When you upset your fan base that much, and this just isn't in sport, this is filming, this is games, this is everything. In the end, what they do is just say, do you know what? Fuck you. I ain't buying your stuff anymore. I mean, look at Disney. I know it's a bit of a big thing, but look at Disney. Over 159 billion they've lost in 1 year. Because the people who love it for what it is have said, we ain't buying your crap no more, your DEI shit and everything. We don't want to know. And they've lost 159 billion in a year. Game companies, Ubisoft, I can name. I don't know who know about games and that.
Yeah, but Dan, there's a big difference here.
What I'm saying is, I'm getting to the point of the way you hurt somewhere is money. And we just haven't got the people that want to do it. I'm just giving examples.
Yeah, but the problem is, no, you're totally right. I fully agree with you. But the issue we've got is this. Those people that don't watch Disney will go and watch something else. We as Spurs fans, we're not going anywhere else. So you've got a choice. Either stay, accept it, and toe the line, or stand up and push back and fight the regime. And the vast majority of fans will talk a really good game. They'll give you a great debate. They'll say the right things. But when it comes to now putting that into action, they're not interested. And the club knows this. The club knows this. So they're like, you can put that tweet out.
Can I go back to something Ian said? Ian, you said surely these people want to see us win stuff, right? Like they want to. Honestly, if you listen to a lot of the people that, I'm not going to call them Levy in because they want to pretend that they're not Levy in and just say they're trying to promote the other side. But if you listen to a lot of the people that are not Levy out, what they've done now is convince themselves that Spurs are not a club that deserve to win anything. And the picture is now that we are greedy, entitled fans for thinking that we should win something. So they're actually, they say, oh, it would be nice to win something, but we are not a club that wins anything. That's what they do. They run down our history, make it so now that we do not deserve to win anything. So if we don't win anything, that's not Levy's fault. That's the reality of football, and we're not a club that should win anything. So that's where I think it comes. They say, oh, it would be nice to win something, but we shouldn't expect to win it. So they don't actually push for us to win.
Scott, they've been Levy washed.
I agree.
That's what they've done.
No, 100%.
But we have got to be one of the only things I've ever seen of a company like as I don't know what the right word is, but to basically get totally shafted on everything we want and still walk over to it and just pay it the fucking money for the crap. Whereas everything I said, I know them different things, but what the fan base has done on it as such has just turned around and said, we ain't buying your crap no more. And if even people would just get together strong enough and stop spending the money in the ground, and the impact it would have. But people just won't do it.
This is what I was alluding to earlier. I think that the only way that I can see that the fans effectively going against the club is if the brand gets so damaged, i.e., we're just so unsuccessful as a London club, that naturally the fans will think, you know what, I'm not going to spend this sort of money anymore. I can go and do something else that I'll enjoy more.
Basically, get relegated.
Yeah, well, or go really down the league where we're just about hovering above, and that's the only way that the board would do anything about it, because of the lack of success and the brand damage, and then their worldwide revenues will go down because but until that, I think we're just going to have to wait it out. I'm at that point now, and
I get you,
guys. But the one thing I don't agree with, and that I really hate, that I wanted to talk about, but it's getting a bit late now, so I don't know if I'm going to go into it too much, right? But is this idea that we shouldn't protest because it won't make any difference because the ownership's not going anywhere. I think that's a nihilistic point of view, right? I think that if you really believe that we're helpless and we can't pressure them to do anything, right, then you shouldn't be doing YouTube and you shouldn't be watching football, or at least watching Spurs, because then you've given up on the club. You know, if you support the club, you want the club to do well, therefore you have to fight for it. If you really think that there's just no point, right, and the club is doomed, right, then you know what are you doing watching the club? You might as well go and support someone else or follow another team.
Can I just suggest a couple of comments?
If I
Michael,
can,
I'll come to you. I just want to address 3 comments
go
because
on.
people are asking things, and I just want to set the record straight. Where were the Enoch out people speaking like this before the Liverpool Champions League final? Rodrigo, I don't know how often you watch this channel, but I've seen your name pop up before, so I know you know the answer. But I'll remind everyone watching, I was not Enoch or Levy out whilst Poch was at the club. Poch was manager of that final. I became Enoch and Levy out after Poch got sacked. So I hope that answers that one. Mervyn,
I was Enoch out when we never signed a striker for Redknapp, and we brought in Saha and Nelson.
Maz goes further back. Ian, let me just stress these comments because I was going to have debating all the comments. Mervyn says, Stel, you know I like you, but why did you go today? You said you'll never go because you're bored of it, if I'm being honest. Right, Mervyn, again, you watch this channel, so you're trying to stir it up. You know my reasons for going. I said I'm going today because I think it's going to go toxic and it's going to be Levy out protests, and I need to be there for that because for me, I want him gone. I explained my reasoning. So I don't know why you bring it up again. And the last one, Spurs on the rocks. I'm sorry, guys. You guys are talking shit on this one. I'm Levy out. Glad you Levy out. But this is just dumb. Club employs people. Like I said, people would lose their job. The 62,000 fans that sit in the stadium are not employed by the club. So I would say this comment is talking shit. The 3 million Spurs fans that I believe it's 3 million that support the club in the UK are not employees of the club. They don't take any action. So I don't understand where you are just making these kinds of things up. Spurs on the rocks. So I just wanted to address them. Ian, yeah, you want to say something?
No, I've been leaving out since that AGM. When he told me, it's a privilege for me to come and watch my club. When I asked him how he can justify 57.6% season ticket increase. We'd never been in the Champions League. Whole place went woof. Couldn't believe it. This was a chairman of a public company talking to a fan who'd explained he'd been following Spurs at that stage for over 40 years, season ticket holder for 26. He hates the fans, has no interest in football whatsoever. He's using the club as a platform to get very rich. End of. That's it. How anybody can be Levy in when he's treating the club and the fans like this. Seriously, you need help.
Michael.
I wanted to say something because
I agree with everything Ian just said, by the way.
Yeah. I wanted to say something because I feel like there is also like a bit of a bigger issue with like the whole protest thing and why, at least like for listen, I was never part of organizing it, right? You know, I'm foreign, right? So as much as I would love to, I can join you guys, right? I can't fly to, you know, to England and try and support you guys, right? It's not financially feasible for me, right? But as a foreigner looking from the outside, right, and looking at the Premier League in general, and I know you will like partially disagree with me because of like United and how they organize the protests and all that stuff, right? But I feel like at least in London, and this is like from my viewing, I feel like the issue is that the fans in the stadium aren't as consistent as I think some of us believe, right? And they don't appear consistently enough, right? I feel like there is such a big turnover in terms of fans, right? That even if you want to organize something, there will be plenty of people in that stadium who are there for the first time, or who are, you know, just the second time or third time, who aren't involved in those like supporters groups, who don't know what's going on with the ownership. I feel like there is plenty of people out there who just enjoy it as a day out, right? And like compare it like with me, if when I come in March, right, I know how the situation looks because I talk with you guys, right? But in any other circumstance I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't know that I shouldn't buy a beer to not support the ownership, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is some like to compare it a bit with what I see at my own city, right? The city I'm from is like 1 million in population. We have our team here, right? Last season we lost the league by goal difference. This season we are dead last in the league, right? And you can see like the difference in fans' approach, right? I think the fans that appeared in the stadium last season were fans that have been like consistently appearing there throughout the seasons, and now they are boycotting the team and boycotting the ownership because they are more connected with the club, and I think they live more like with the club. They know about the stuff that's going on behind the scenes in the club, and I feel like it's easier to organize a protest or organize like, you know, a walkout or organize a boycott or something like that when more fans are involved. That's at least how I see it, right? And also I think as much as it sounds, I think like London and English clubs in general lack that like ultras, you know, like ultras part of the fan base. Because I kid you not, if the same situation happened here, right? And even though like the whole stadium is pretty much empty, there are still plenty of ultras in the stadium, right? Those ultras will block you from, you know, buying stuff if they want to, right? I just feel like there isn't enough like character and then enough involvement in the stands to organize the thing. Sorry, I know.
You're right, Mike.
I know I'm not like making
that with figures. Can I answer that with figures, Michael? Yeah. There's around 61,000 average. Okay, 42,000 are season ticket holders at the grounds. There are between 9 and 10,000 premium stroke box holders. Take out 3,000 for away fans. That leaves 6 to 7,000 where tickets go on sale to Tottenham members. Okay, you've then got X amount that go on ticket exchange that Tottenham members with a client reference number can buy, or failing that, people can send to a friend for no cost. So you've got your hardcore 42,000 plus 10, you've got 52,000 turning up week after week who have bought their tickets. Yeah. Now, obviously, not everybody turns up every game, but it's not like you've got 20,000 coming in from all over. It's not like that. The difference is, and there was a great post up on here a minute or two ago, and I think it's correct that the ground has been knocked down. You've got new fans coming in that they don't have the passion that we all have. Yeah, it's a day out. You know, Stell showed the people from after the match today in the having a drink after the match. I didn't go to the Arsenal game this year, but I saw videos on Twitter. That was even worse. They were outside drinking and parties. After we lost to Arsenal, how do you go drinking and socialising after you lose to Arsenal. I was fucked off all week.
Yeah,
And these people are knocking back the drink. Let's get pissed. Let's have a good time.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Ian,
Sorry, everyone's entitled. Listen, everyone's
Yeah.
entitled to support the club exactly as they want. Yeah, I'm not criticising, but for me personally,
but then don't moan about problems at the club. Don't complain about issues at the club. Don't go on social media and have a gripe if that's going to be your behaviour, because the words, the rhetoric, is the complete opposite to the behaviour.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. Ian.
So maybe if I can like rephrase what I said, right? I feel like there is not enough like engagement in the fans that go to the stadium.
Say it straight, Mike. There's not enough bollocks in the club, basically.
Yeah,
There's not enough
yeah,
balls
activism.
in it. This was
It's
Italy.
just activism.
The lack of will to notice what the issue is and act against it, right? I feel like yes, Ian, I agree that there is like plenty of season ticket holders, right? But I'm not saying it's like 50% who sell up, right, and sell it to the friends or randoms or whatever, right? But when the camera pans to the stands, right, during the match, right, listen, I will say it, but it's not like focusing on that group. I'm not saying anything like, don't take it the wrong way, right? But there is plenty of Koreans in the stand who are there to see Son, right? There is plenty of foreign fans that have their first time out there, right? And this is people those are people that are buying those tickets from the season ticket holders, right? I just feel like there is not enough like consistent engagement in the stands where you can rally all those people up, right? And all those people know what the issue is, right? I seriously think when you look at that stadium, which will always be full, right? It will always be full. There aren't enough people that want to because like even if it's like 20,000 that know what the issue is, right? Fucking 10% will want to do something about it, right? It's not like, you know, here where we have like 30k seater stadiums which are full, right?
Yeah.
But the difference is those 30k seater stadiums, 28,000 are season ticket holders, and the city that has a 30k seater stadium is like 200k, you know,
Michael,
200k people living in it, right? So all those people know everything about the cup. They are fans of the cup. They know everything about.
Sure.
Like,
Michael, you've got fans that care. We don't have enough fans that care.
No, it's not even that.
Exactly.
It's what I said. Is we haven't got enough fans with balls. No, when it comes down to it, I'd say there's more people.
I love the way that Dan says that. By the way, I love the way that Dan says that. He's got no. He just says it straight away. Just straight up about it to Mikel. I love you, Mikel. It's just the way you say it. The way you just say it.
There's more people here that want to win than don't. Is there more people that want to win than don't?
No.
Yes.
No.
I actually think no. I actually think when you look at the.
If this was Italy and in Napoli or Milan or whatever, 5,000 of their fans, not even that, would be standing outside that stadium and saying, "You even come into this stadium, I'm turning up at your house, mate." End of. The stadium would be empty. This place, along with it, it's just got nothing in it.
I just, if I can quickly like add something, right? I seriously think, looking from the outside, right? I think like the football like culture in England has been neutralized pretty much. I'm looking at the like English fans and the way, you know, I'm not saying you have to like flare the stadium up and, you know, rip chairs up or whatever. Not like that. Wait, Ian, let me finish, right?
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Let me stop you there. If this was Everton, Liverpool, United, they wouldn't be putting up with this shit for 24 years. Absolutely.
Maybe it's a London issue. Maybe it's more of a London issue, right?
Arsenal had 10,000 fans protesting about the ESL.
Exactly. It's this club and this supporters have got no bloody balls on them. It's not that they don't want to win. Of course they want Spurs to win an FA Cup or a bloody league. It's just most of this fan base has got no bloody balls on it. I said it again. It's got all the mouth in the world, all the front in the world, but it ain't got the bottle to turn up to anything or do anything. They might as well just turn over and take a spanking like they do every time. And that is Spurs fans in general for you, in majority for you. That's how it is. Liverpool wouldn't put up with this crap. Neither would Everton, nor would Arsenal. Nor would Man U, and other Newcastle done it for God knows how long that they had to do it and that. This fan base is as weak as it gets.
Pathetic.
I say Ange is Levy's little bitch. Most of this fan base might as well be Levy's little bitch as well, because they don't do nothing to stand up for a club that they're meant to love.
Spot on.
You know that film? You know that film Snatch? Yeah. You know the big guy? Yeah, the big guy. I forgot his name now. Yeah. You just remind me of Dan. You just remind me of that guy.
Alex, you kill me, man.
Anyway, I'm going to shoot off, guys.
The way you just said it, just just like that. It's like,
I'll just say it. I'll see it.
I just want to, guys. I want to wrap it up soon because we've been going on for a while. There was another super chat I missed. Sorry, Eugene. He said, "Were fans protesting against leaving Enixtel? Not today. They weren't. No, not at all. Nothing." At 4-2. A lot of fans left around about the 80th, 82nd minute, started walking out. There was no boos at the end. There's no booing. There's no Levy out. It was just, and it was an acceptance. And for me, that is the problem. And I said it 2 years ago, and I keep repeating it, and I keep saying it. The biggest problem at Spurs now are the fans. The fans are the biggest problem. Levy's created this. ENIC have manifested us into this shit show of a circus, but it's the fans that are now keeping us in this situation because they accept it. Michael, I want to move it on to this because this happened during the show, apparently. It's a tweet from Romero. Christian Romero has backed Ange Postecoglou. He's a great coach. We saw it in the first season. In this second one, we've suffered a lot of injuries. Players should be the first one to be criticised. Then if we lose 10 games, the staff can be changed. We are very happy with this staff. Me and my colleagues, we love how they work and the football they try to play. So Romero has come out with a big, bold backing of Ange Postecoglou. There's also another tweet saying that he reposted something where if Ange gets sacked, then he's going to leave the club. But I can't find that repost. I can't find that retweet. I've looked. It's not on Twitter. I've looked on Romero's tweet.
Yeah, but did he say that he want to leave if Postecoglou leaves?
That's his excuse then, isn't it?
Bye-bye then. Bye-bye. Because your head's at Real Madrid anyway.
Stel, let me share the screen.
By the way, Stel, I said, Stel, was it Rodrigo who, because I've seen his post up here, does Joe Lewis or Levy coach the team? Was it Rodrigo who you highlighted a text, a post that came up before where you commented about were you Levy out when we reached the Champions League final? Let me answer that. We reached the Champions League final not because of Levy, but in spite of Levy. And never ever forget that, because Poch didn't get backed at all. So don't think it was Levy that got us to the Champions League final. He most certainly didn't.
Yeah, Stel, I'm sharing the screen with the tweet from So, but he reposted this basically, right?
No, but Michael, he hasn't. It says reposted by Coutinho, but where did he repost that?
To Twitter, but it was deleted. Like 1 minute after or something. I think he's.
So if he's deleted it, if he's deleted it, he doesn't mean it.
Or his PR team deleted it, right?
Okay, but again, there's no screenshot of his actual page, so we can see evidence that this actually happened. This is what I'm saying to you.
Wait.
It seems like this has been
something on Reddit. There was something about it on Reddit.
That's what I'm saying. Until I see proper evidence, it's just people just trying to, divide and create argument that isn't actually there. So I'm not too sure about that. But look, Brian Daigle just sent me something, and this sums up the point I was trying to make. This is inside the stadium today. Fuck off, Levy. Get out of our club. ENIC out. Brilliant. You've written something in the toilets. Great. It's all mouth. It's all mouth. That's what I'm saying.
If I don't laugh, I'm just going to cry.
The cleaner's going to go there tonight, wipe it off, and leave.
I just can't do it anymore.
That's not even going to get back to Levy. I'm not even going to tell him that's happened. It's like just
it would
laugh.
It would be so funny if it was Stelios that did that. It would be so funny if it was Stelios.
I would sign it. I'd sign it.
He probably wasn't. He just did the picture himself.
Yeah, he probably was sending pictures to Dangle.
Mike, surprised didn't do it like that.
I can't I can't even take it seriously anymore.
Man United
That's
fans storm games. Arsenal fans protest. Newcastle fans relentless protesting. Us, we graffiti the toilet.
Man United sat their director of football there had only had 5 minutes only was it put in charge five months ago.
The way the majority of Spurs fans are, the way I see it, every time we go to Spurs, we might as well just go to 50 Shades of Grey. There you go, stick my belt on me and do what you got to do, mate. And that's basically what happens every time.
Yeah.
And we've
Still,
let it go on 24 years.
Still, when you go up six or seven posts to Rodrigo's last post.
Tell me the time.
Literally a minute ago.
No, the timestamp. There's a time next to it. On StreamYard.
12:34 possibly.
Rodrigo.
Keep going. Literally.
What Brian Daigle, this one?
The shift, for every year was under Levy. Logically, to keep Levy off the field and have 25% shareholders for football inside. I just want Rodrigo to read about the club's history. Go back to the start, read right the way through, read what this club is about. Okay, then you'll have a fair idea. You can actually judge correctly how Levy and Lewis have run this club for the last 24 years. That's all I'll say.
That's what I'm talking about, Ian. This is what the fans think, that we're some
then come back. Once you know the history, you learn about how we were in the last century. What a big club this is.
I do agree with you, Ian. You are spot on, because like I had to go back and look at read the Wikipedia, and we were a big club then. We were
massive. And where we are now,
Bill Nicholson and Keith Birkinshaw were managers that really revolutionised this club. Keith Birkinshaw from when we were relegated. We were relegated and we came back. Yeah. So we were a big club back then, but we lost it. And even they said it. Even they said it when they left. So, you know what I mean? It's like I do agree with you, Ian, because if you actually look at the research, you can see that we were a big club back then. Yes, we were, but at the moment the standards are so low. And I'm being honest with you right now. It was actually better we had it worse back in the 90s, 1990, and we won an FA Cup. So where's the excuse right now?
But do you know what? Fans do this all the time. They compare the 90s to now. But the 90s was 10 years. Levy's had 24. If you compare the previous 20 years, so we go back to the mid 70s up until 2000, we've won
5, was it 5 in the previous?
Whatever the exact date is, but
7 in the 24 before. There were 12 in the 48 years before Enoch, and we've had 1 in 24.
Yeah, my point is, if you compare 24 years before Enoch and 24 years of this, the only real thing that's really changed, other than winning far less trophies, is the financial wealth of Lewis, Levy, because of Tottenham, and the directors and Levy's salary is astronomical. Financially, they've milked it. They've smashed it. We as fans have been completely mugged off.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally. And most of the fans, like you said, Ian, will still go, yeah, but we won the FA Cup or the League Cup, or whatever.
We won the League Cup.
The League Cup. We won a cup and be happy with it. That's like when you're going out with your mates all the time when you're 18 and your mate pulls the nice bird when you're 18 and that, and you say fair play. By the time you get into your mid-20s, he's still talking about that one because he ain't pulled nothing else, and you've already got a hit list. It's fucking diabolical. Sorry.
You're just like Bricktop from the Snatch film. That's what I was talking about.
I have to mention one more thing quickly, right? Because there was a comment like, where were all the Levy outers when we were in the Champions League final, right? I don't know if people realize, but that's the fucking point of protesting, right? We want this club to be successful. We were not successful because we didn't win, right? But we are competing for things, right? In spite of Levy, as Ian has said, right? But listen, there is a certain point that Levy crossed that there is no coming back, right? I don't think there could be anything that Levy could do to convince Stelios to start backing him, right? But I think that there is a like the aim of all of that, the aim of protesting against the ownership, the aim of like pointing the finger, is for that ownership either to change or change in terms of like selling and changing the ownership completely, or for that ownership to actually realize that the aim of this football club is to win shit, right? So if we are in Champions League finals, if we are fighting for the league, right, it doesn't have to happen every year. We don't have to win a quadruple every year. It would be nice, of course, right? But we want this club to be competitive, right? We want this club to live up to the history it had, right? We want this club to be as successful as it was
Michael,
in past decades, right?
if we won a couple of trophies every 10 years, every decade, a couple of trophies, you wouldn't hear any complaint.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You wouldn't hear any complaints.
When we are fighting for that Champions League trophy with Liverpool, right? Like, why would you complain at that point? We are where we want to be, right? Of course, there were issues, like as Ian has said, we got there in spite of Levy. Like the squad was at a terrible place. We sold Dembele before the final. Like there were plenty of issues, right? But the point is to be competitive. This is why we are spending hours upon hours on those shows saying what the issue is, right? Because we want this club to be successful. I don't understand how people just cannot like grasp their mind around it, right? How hard is it to like? We are not against the club. We don't want the club to fail. We want it to be successful.
The worst thing that happened to this club was getting to that Champions League final, and I know that right now. The worst thing that happened to this club was getting to that Champions League final, because we've not looked back. We've not.
Alex, but didn't that show us what we are capable of? Didn't that show us what this club is capable of?
It just heightened. It just put a thing in the head of Daniel Levy, thinking this is the way to do it.
Correct.
Listen, guys.
Because he got it on the cheap. He got there on the cheap. He got there before. He got there with the majority of the players that were bought before transfer fees rocketed. So he thought, great, we've got Lloris for 12, Dembele for 15, Vertonghen for 15, Toby for 16, 17. And, you know, we can get all these players. Sonny was the most expensive at 22. 22 million, most expensive player, I think, in that team. And he probably thought, Poch did it. Everybody can do it. We can get there on the cheap, because they don't want to spend. They just want to get rich. They're not bothered. They are not bothered if they win a trophy or not.
Liverpool got to the Champions League final and lost it, and that motivated them to do better. So they got better players to help them, and then they won it the following year against us.
Because they're ambitious.
They got better every year because they learned that they had to do it, because they learned it from the last previous manager.
But Alex, they wanted it. Alex, they wanted
they wanted it as well, but they said they got to get better. They got rid of the main player Coutinho, and they got the 3 players in. They didn't look back.
The actions they carried out was as a result of the desire to get it over the line.
That's the point I'm making.
That desire to get it over the line.
That's the point I'm making, though. Still, you just put it better than me. You put it better than me. You summed it up better than me.
And don't
they have brought in players to get them over the line. We're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. I'm at peace with that now. Right? Shit. Okay. What we should have done is gone to another manager like Poch, right, who's the coach, and say, okay, these are the players. You got to work with them. This is how we're going to have to do it, and that's what we've got to do. So it's on the ownership. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about Levy out and all that, because I mean, there's only so much I can say on that. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. But the problem is that they're so focused on other things that I don't think they actually realise that the plans that they're doing at the moment, I don't think they know where this end goal is. I don't think they've got this end goal.
Their end goal is the hotel, the 3 luxury apartments.
Yeah. That's the point.
Franchise,
and there's even bigger things as well for Tottenham and Haringey's area as a whole. But that's not on football. I can't go there. But that is just for me at the moment. The football
that's the end goal. That's the end goal, though, isn't
it? Yeah. But that's what I can't go into that, because then we get into other things which I don't really want to get into. You know what I mean? But it's just, for me, I don't see it at the moment, and I think they're just so in that field, and they're not doing. And they try and copy other people, and they don't do it right. And yeah, this has just been and I think this whole thing now with Ange has just really summed it up for me, and that's why my head was gone after Pochettino. And
this ownership of Enoch and Levy has been a fucking disaster for a football fan of this club. It has been nothing short of the worst ownership in the history of any Big Six Premier League club and the entire history of Tottenham. From a point of view of wanting glory and success, they have been a fucking disgrace, man. That's why I want them gone. They are horrendous. I don't care about the stadium, the training ground, the sponsors, the income, the revenue. I don't care about none of it. They can fucking bin it all and we'll start again with a new owner. I'll take the hit. I'm going to end it on that because we've been going for 3 hours. I need to get some sleep, right? We could go on and on about this, but I just want to say big up to you guys for coming on the show. Big up to all the people who joined the channel's members, Super Chats, William, Ian, John, Rugen, another channel member there, Barbara, thank you so much. We are back tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. on Tottenham Way for our Monday breakdown show. All the boys will be there. We are back on Thursday night after the Rangers game. God help us. We have no idea what's going to happen in that one, but we'll be live for that one. I'll quickly go around. Everyone have their final say, plug their channels. Make sure you subscribe to Dan, to Sava, to Alex, to Hasper as well. Michael, your final words. Keep it brief. We can't do another hour of therapy for you, bro.
Hey, it's not only for me. Come on. we all had the therapy today. It's not. I just hope something changes in this club, and the first thing that can change right now is the manager. And I think it's fully warranted to point the finger at him. And he deserves the criticism. He deserves everything that's happened. And today was a complete shit show yet again. Always when we play Chelsea, it's a shit show. It's never a calm match. It's always something stupid happens. So, yeah, I'm not gonna say I expected to lose, and we lost. The manner was a bit sad, but yeah.
Another day at the office against the Chelsea scum. Yeah. Big up to Michael as always, man. Dan, plug your channel. When you next on?
Be some stage this week. I just do things randomly, as you know, on there. That's all I'd say to this. Basically, it is what it is, and it is what we let it be, as in Spurs fans. So, and get Ange out as quick as possible.
Ange out. Professor of Truth and Entertainment.
Well, you know where to find me. It's Mr. Box Office TV. I've already just put a new video about what my thoughts on the game is. Spoiler alert, not happy, and I'm Ange out. But you already knew that from the very beginning. So yeah, like I say, I'm not surprised. I was talking the truth all this time, and just enjoy yourselves, folks, because it's going to get even worse because the fixture list is not getting any easier. That's all I need to say. Back to you still. I'm done. And I'm off to bed. Bye, guys. I'm out of here.
See you there, Alex. Back to me. Ian, are you going to Rangers on Thursday?
Going to Rangers Thursday, yeah.
God help
flying
you.
out Thursday lunchtime.
God help you, man.
I'll be there. What time does the show start on Thursday, by the way?
I'll tell you now. Thursday show will be live at, I think it's 10:30 or 11:45. It's going to be at 10:30 p.m. UK time.
I'll try and get on. I don't know where I'll be. I don't know how long they'll keep us in for, but I'll try and get on. Just a couple of things. Firstly, what Wig said, Levy's a great businessman. How does that help you as a fan? Well, I'd like to hear your answer for that. And secondly, now that unreliable, I don't know how can I sum up Basuma? Liability, thankfully, is suspended at Southampton. Maybe he'll give a player who's comfortable on the ball and can knock the ball around like Archie Gray a go, and we won't see constant chaos in our midfield in every single game. Because the boy did well today when he came on as sub at centre back, and he bloody played out Madueke when Madueke tried taking him on.
Why am I waiting to hear a phone call in the background? Why am I waiting to hear the phone ring?
Well, he's a good player. I've got to tell you, Dan, any 18-year-old that comes in and plays in three positions, you got to put your hand up to the bloke. Seriously.
We're not doing great. I'll end the show. Great.
Ian, I agree, mate. Doing it in 3 positions can't be easy.
Ian's allowed his final say. That's his final say. Scott, as always, great to have you on.
I got that done.
Yes, I'm just going to quickly. I just
Typical
wanted
Danny.
to say, after being up 2-0 today, and Ange telling us he doesn't want to see out results, after dropping the Roma game, after being up 2-1, and Ange telling us he doesn't want to get results, he doesn't want to earn it, after being up 2-0 against Brighton and dropping that game, after all the comments where he tells us that success isn't as important as doing it his way, after us now being 11th in the league, there is no reason for us all not to be Ange out. I don't think it's going to be the solution to all our problems. I don't think a new manager is going to bring in trophies or success, but it's the first step we need to do if we're serious as a club and serious about winning, is get Ange out of our club. There's no more debate. There's no more justification for him. Get the fraud out of our club. I've been saying it since day one, and now it's nice to see that some people are seeing what we should all know from all along. Ange is way out of his depth. He's a fraud. He's a donkey. The only bigger fraud is Dietrich's Kane, always and forever. Thank you for having me on the show.
Dietrich's catching. He's not here to defend himself. Thank you for that, Scott. All I'm going to say is this, guys. I'm Ange out. I'm Lange out. But above everything else, I want that motherfucker Levy out, and I want that scum of an ownership Enoch out. They are the worst. And that's it. One last message to all the Arsenal fans that have been in our chat all night, laughing, ridiculing. I'd like to remind you, your fraud of a manager bottled it again today away to Fulham. Your chance to close the gap on Liverpool. And you choke artists, you never let us down. So just that gentle reminder to you gooners that came here to have fun. Guys, on that note, we're out of here. Have a good one as much as you can. I hope your week's better than what Tottenham have given us this weekend. And we'll be back tomorrow night. We're out of here. Peace.
The first game we look for, Robbie.